September 26th meeting of the Garden Grove City Council. Madam Clerk, would you please call roll?
Councilmember O'Neill.
I'm here.
Councilmember Tran.
I'm here.
Councilmember Dovin.
Present.
Councilmember Klopfenstein.
Here.
Councilmember Kim Nguyen Penalosa.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Bradigam.
Here.
And Mayor Jones.
Should I say I'm here?
May I ask Assistant City Manager Maria Stipe to do the invocation for the very last time?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If everybody could please stand and prepare yourselves according to your faith. Dear Lord, thank you for everyone gathered here this evening and the sense of high purpose and celebration that we share. As we consider the items before us, we ask that you would guide us and give us wisdom to make the very best decisions for our beloved city of Garden Grove. Amen.
Amen. Councilmember John O'Neill, could you lead us in the
Oh,
pledge?
thank you. If everyone could please stand and face the flag and remove your caps. Please join me in saluting the greatest symbol of freedom in the world. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. America! Thank you.
We have a very spirited full house tonight. I like it. Okay, now we'll pause and recess over to Housing Authority, so I'll hand it over to George Bradigam.
Microphone here. Well, good morning. We will open the Garden Grove Housing Authority. Please call roll.
Commissioner Beckles. Here. Commissioner Dovin.
Present.
Commissioner Jones.
Here.
Commissioner Klopfenstein.
Here.
Commissioner Tan Nguyen.
Here.
Commissioner O'Neill. Commissioner Tran.
Here.
Vice Chair Kim Nguyen Penalosa.
Here.
And Chair Bradigam.
Here. So we're going to move on to oral communications. Is there anybody here who would like to address the Garden Grove Housing Authority? Not to be confused with the City Council, anything that's, no. Okay, seeing none, we will close oral communications and move on to consent. Entertain a motion.
I'll move the consent calendar.
I'll second.
Have a motion, we have a second. Let's call for the vote.
Commissioner Beckles. Yes. Commissioner Dovin.
Aye.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Commissioner Klopfenstein.
Yes.
Commissioner Tan Nguyen. Commissioner O'Neill. Commissioner Tran.
Yes.
Vice Chair Kim Nguyen Penalosa.
Yes.
And Chair Bradigam.
Yes.
Motion received, 9 yes votes.
Moving on to matters. Any matters from commissioners? We have one from
Vice Chair.
Commissioner, or, Vice Chair Nguyen Penalosa.
Peñalosa. You'll get used to it. It's better than having two twins. I just want to thank Danny so much for his years of service. You are amazing, and we're going to miss you terribly. You have done such phenomenal work. I'm not going to cry, so you can't cry, but thank you. You are going to be sorely missed.
Any other matters? I do have one too. I just want to wish you, I know it's Thursday, but this is the last meeting that we can do it. I'd like to wish you a happy retirement. I think back on all the help you've given myself, phone calls, briefing me on all the stuff that I need to know before I go in front of a meeting, walking me when we were trying to attack the homeless veteran issue. And I want to give you credit for that. Our city has no homeless veterans. We're one of the few cities that can make that claim. And that is largely due to Danny's efforts. So thank you for all you've done for our city. And with that, we will adjourn. The next meeting will be October 24th. It says 5:30. October 24th.
All righty.
They have the dogs there. So
Okay. Oh, Carol. Not enough. I don't got wings yet.
All right, we shall reconvene city council. I'm going to go out of order real quick and pull item 3A forward from the consent calendar, if I may.
Second.
Motion, I'll make the motion second. Call the vote, please.
I am having technical difficulties, so I'm going to do a roll call vote. Mayor Pro Tem Brightingham.
Yes.
Councilmember O'Neill.
Yes.
Councilmember Tran.
Yes.
Mayor Jones.
Yes.
Councilmember Dovin.
Aye.
Councilmember Klopfenstein.
Yes.
And Councilmember Kim Wen Pinalosa.
Yes.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
All right, back to presentations. Item 1A, Community Spotlight in recognition of Assistant City Manager Maria Stipe's retirement after 26 years. Uh-oh, who's going to read it?
Going to read it tonight. Thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. Tonight, the Garden Grove City Council is honored to recognize Assistant City Manager Maria
Face the
Stipe
audience.
as she retires from the City of Garden Grove following 26 years of exemplary service. Maria began her 26-year career with the City of Garden Grove in 1997 as an administrative analyst in the Public Works Department. She was later promoted to a senior administrative analyst in 2000 and a principal administrative analyst in 2004. In 2005, Maria became the assistant to the city manager and a division manager in 2008. In 2011, Maria was appointed deputy city manager, and in 2019 ascended to assistant city manager. Maria's time in the city manager's office, she has provided policy-oriented and administrative support to the city manager and the city council, assisted the city council in establishing community goals and policies, and worked with city departments to achieve departmental objectives. Some of Maria's many accomplishments with the city include serving on the executive budget committee to eliminate the city's structural budget deficit and leading community education and outreach efforts relating to the transition to the district elections and Measure O. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Maria served as the planning chief for the city's Emergency Operations Center, and she assisted the city in advocating for over $55 million in coronavirus aid, relief, and economic security, or CARES Act, and the American Rescue Plan Act funding. She is a longtime member of the International City County Management Association, the Orange County Managers Association, and Women Leading Government. She also maintains a strong involvement in Garden Grove community and presently serves on the executive board for the Garden Grove Rotary Club. At this time, the mayor and city council would like to present Maria Stipe with a resolution of commendation in recognizing and appreciation of her 26 years of service to the city of Garden Grove and its residents. She will be deeply missed, and we wish her countless fulfillment in her future years ahead.
I gotta get a few pictures. Oh my God. It took 26 years to get to that. Maria for president. That's the most cameras I've ever seen.
1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3.
Good luck.
And if I may also add, I understand a representative from Assemblyman Trita's office has joined tonight and would also like to recognize Assistant City Manager Maria Stipe.
Good evening, the Honorable Mayor and Council Member. I'm so honored to be here on behalf of California State Assembly, and I'm so honored to represent the City of Garden Grove on California State Assembly as well. So I heard a lot of good things about Maria, and I want to thank her for her dedication, her leadership. Maria has been really helpful in working with our staff in the district in different projects, and I really appreciate that. So I'm here on behalf of California State Assembly to honor her for her dedication, her leadership in serving Garden Grove community, and I'm really proud of everything that she done for City of Garden Grove. So I wish you have a good retirement, and I believe that you will. Yes. So on behalf of California State Assembly, it's my honor to recognize and to thank you for your achievement in serving City of Garden Grove. Thank you.
Mayor Jones, Mayor Pro Tem Brightigam, and members of the City Council, thank you for this tremendous honor tonight and for the beautiful reception earlier this evening. I have the highest regard for all of you and your passion and service to the City of Garden Grove. I'm so privileged to have served as Garden Grove's Assistant City Manager and to have worked for this wonderful community for 26 years. I'd also like to thank my family. I would not have been able to do this job without their support, most especially my wonderful husband, Dan. Always been by my side, always. Also, my son Cole. Thank you, Cole. My daughter Corinna, I know she's not here tonight, but she's here in spirit. My sisters, brothers, and many friends are also here tonight, and I love all of you so much. To our hugely talented central management team, and the city manager, it's been a fabulous ride and a privilege to work with all of you. I'm overwhelmed by your talents and expertise and care for this city. There's no doubt that Garden Grove will prosper and thrive in the years to come. To our city staff and my dear colleague and dear friend, Danny Wynn, who's also retiring after 30 years. I love you and have the utmost respect for your outstanding contributions. Thank you for your friendship and support over the many years. And may God richly bless each of you and the City of Garden Grove. Thank you.
Forget all that hardware.
All right, I'd now like to go back out of order again, pull item 3B from consent calendar. Move it. Second. Call to vote. Okay.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
All right, and that takes us on to presentation item 1B, and this is a community spotlight in recognition of Housing Authority Manager Danny Wynn, retirement after 30 years of service.
My dear friend Danny, so privileged to read this tonight. The Garden Grove City Council is pleased to honor Housing Authority Manager Danny Wynn, who's retiring from the City of Garden Grove after 30 years of working to improve and enhance the Garden Grove community. Danny began his career with the Garden Grove Housing Authority in 1993 as a housing specialist. In 1999, he was promoted to senior housing specialist and was later promoted to housing supervisor in 2003. As a supervisor, he was in charge of the Housing Authority's eligibility section, a team of over 10 staff that interviewed and processed cases for families applying for housing assistance. He was also responsible for preparing and submitting annual budget requests to the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development and preparing the city budget for the Housing Authority. In 2010, Danny was promoted to Housing Division Manager. Under his leadership over the past 13 years, the Garden Grove Housing Authority has consistently ranked as a high-performing agency by HUD and recently scored 100% on the Section 8 Management Assessment Program in fiscal year 22-23. And this is consistent with many prior years of scoring perfect scores. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Danny was instrumental in receiving and administering 75 new mainstream vouchers and funding from HUD to help respond to COVID-19 related housing needs in our community. In 2021, he played an active role in the Housing Authority, obtaining 117 emergency housing vouchers for individuals and families who were homeless, at risk of homelessness, fleeing or attempting to flee assault, domestic violence, human trafficking, and more. Today, the Garden Grove Housing Authority is one of only 4 housing authorities in Orange County that administers the Section 8 housing voucher rental assistance program. Annually, the program assists almost 2,800 families, and staff performs over 3,000 inspections to ensure the units are decent, safe, and sanitary. At this time, the mayor and city council would like to present Danny Wynn with a resolution of commendation in recognition and appreciation of his 30 years of dedicated service to the city of Garden Grove and its residents. Congratulations, Danny.
Well, I promise not to cry, so give me a second. Mayor and council members, commissioners, it has been an honor for me to work with the city of Garden Grove for over 30 years. I've enjoyed just the best support that anyone can ask for, and serving the community, helping people is really what I want to do, and the supports that I've had from you over the past few years, past few decades, I will never forget. Because the Garden Grove Housing Authority, I'm very proud of all the accomplishments that we've done. Much of it, credit I'll give to you, all leaders. Much of the credits I give to my friend, my boss, my mentor, Maria Stipe. I want to congratulate her. Our team is a good team, but we perform the best when we have high morale. And we've had that because our staff knew that somebody over at City Hall was our boss, our mentor, our supporters, someone who really respected us and really is part of us. So Maria, you are definitely a Housing Authority team member. So thank you so much, and I love you, and we all love you very much. And thank you, Council, and thank you, Mayor.
I just want to say this is such an amazing city because of the people that make up the organization. And so thanks to you, Danny, to you, Maria. I'm sure for many years to come, we're going to be asking ourselves, what would Danny do? How would Maria handle this situation? So thank you both for all of your many dedicated years of service and compassion and kindness and everything that you brought to this city. We will be dearly missed. So many spotlights tonight. What a fun. All right, next up, we have item 1C, which is a community spotlight in recognition of Sabroso Mexican Grill Restaurant for being featured on most recent season of Food Network's Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, Triple D Nation.
Okay, so I think we're going to ask Paloma Munoz-san to come forward. Is he here? Oh,
Hi.
Hi.
Next door because of the baby.
oh, awesome. Oh, come on and stand forward. Come to the front.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, just stand up in the front. You can face the audience.
Say hi.
Sorry, yeah.
Please come forward.
I'm with my parents here to go forward.
Oh, I'm gonna read a spotlight about you, and then we're gonna say some really nice things, and then I'm gonna give you a chance to talk. Okay? The Garden Grove City Council would like to recognize Sabroso's Mexican Grill for being featured on the most recent season of Food Network's Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, Triple D Nation. And then Garden Grove is home to some of the best restaurants in Orange County, showcasing cuisines from around the world. Sabroso's Mexican Grill is a family-owned restaurant that was established by Chief Tito Munoz in 2012 and is famous for its authentic Mexican dishes using recipes passed on from multiple generations from Guerrero, Mexico. Even though Tito has passed the spatula on to his son in the kitchen and his daughters on the front lines, the family remains committed to providing high-quality, authenticity, food, and service. Sabroso's Mexican Grill was first featured on Food Network's Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives in 2014 when host Guy Fieri stopped by the restaurant to experience the cultural flair and tasty food in person. He and Chief Tito bonded while preparing some of Sabroso's Mexican Grill's signature dishes, chamorro and tamales. Earlier this year, the Food Network team filmed a new segment for Guy Fieri's spin-off show, Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives Triple D Nation. The spin-off centers around Guy Fieri's returning to some of the most memorable joints previously featured in Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. The new episode aired first on July 14th, 2023, where the Munoz family showcased another one of their famous dishes, chili verde. They also shared their plans of expanding and opening a new location within the same plaza so they could make more room for the booming business and its patrons. At this time, the mayor and city council would like to present Sabroso Mexican Grill with a certificate of recognition for being featured on the most recent season of Food Network's Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, Triple D Nation. We congratulate and wish them the very best in their future endeavors. Well done.
So we want to, do I speak in here? Okay, so we want to thank everybody for the support. We're so blessed that we have expanded in the past 12 years, or we're about to expand. And my father says thank you. He's really happy and really proud where we're going with the restaurant. He did have a stroke last year, so that's why he can't come up here and say thank you himself. But we are really grateful, so thank you, Garden Grove, and hopefully you guys come and visit us soon. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to go back out of order again. I should have done this first time. So I'm going to pull 3C and 3D and motion those two from consent.
Second.
Okay, call to vote, 3C and 3D.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
All right, and now we'd like to present a proclamation for National Service Dog Month.
I have the proclamation, but I'm not sure who we're calling forward, so if you have a name.
I have a
okay.
guess.
Okay. Debbie, please come forward. Or if you can, or just, if there. Can I just stay here? Yeah, you can just,
Yep.
yeah, absolutely. Just stay put. Okay, I'm going to read the proclamation. So we're proclaiming National Service Dog Month, September as National Service Dog Month. Whereas we believe in the joyful, transformative power of the human canine bond and inclusivity of all citizens, and whereas in the United States, 64 million adults and children have a disability, and only 16,000 service dogs from accredited training programs exist nationwide, and the need is growing. And whereas Canine Companions is a nonprofit organization that enhances the lives of people with disabilities by providing expertly trained service dogs and ongoing support to ensure quality partnerships. And whereas Canine Companions and their service dogs empower people with disabilities to lead life with greater independence by providing best-in-class training, ongoing follow-up services, and a deeply committed community of support. And whereas National Service Dog Month aims to educate our community about the benefits of service dogs and the laws protecting them, and whereas the City of Garden Grove continues to work towards becoming an inclusive community in which all citizens and their service dogs are embraced, now therefore be it proclaimed that the City of Garden Grove does hereby proclaim September to be National Service Dog Month in Garden Grove in recognition of service dogs and the adults and children with disabilities in our community. We encourage all citizens to celebrate task-trained service dogs and to be respectful of the rights afforded to the adults, children, and veterans who lead more independent lives because of their assistance. September 26, 2023. And I believe we have a framed proclamation for you.
Takes pictures, yeah. I think we got one more to go.
Yeah, we do, after this one. It's the service person.
It's gonna be on TV, so. Make you famous.
I'd like to thank you all so much for this recognition. As you heard in the proclamation, there are 64 million American adults and children who have disabilities, and there are 16,000 service dogs from accredited programs in the U.S. as of 2022. This proclamation will help to raise awareness of the rights of service dog users. Thank you for honoring service dog teams and their amazing work with this proclamation.
All right, last but not least, we would like to pull forward the proclamation for service clubs.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to ask President of the Garden Grove Rotary Club and any other Rotarians who would like to accompany Norm, the president, to come forward. And we would like to present you with a proclamation declaring September as a Service Clubs Month in Garden Grove. And we recognize that there are numerous service clubs in Garden Grove, and so this year we're going to have the Rotary Club receive this proclamation, but we do want to acknowledge the work of all of the other service clubs in Garden Grove. There's so many wonderful groups that contribute so much to the city. So I'm going to read the proclamation, and I'll give Norm, who's the president of the Rotary Club, an opportunity to say a few words. So whereas service clubs in Garden Grove are organizations that engage in community service, charitable work, and fundraising, these clubs have been an integral part of Garden Grove for over 60 years and have made significant contributions to the development of our communities. And whereas service clubs play a vital role in community development by providing resources and services to support local communities, they contribute to various community projects such as building playgrounds, supporting educational programs, and providing scholarships. And whereas these clubs engage in various charitable works such as donating food, clothing, hygiene supplies, and toys to families and children in need, supporting local and international health programs, and aiding aiding in disaster relief efforts. And whereas service clubs provide leadership development opportunities for their members and provide avenues to learn about leadership skills, team building, and communication, assisting them in their personal and professional lives. And whereas these clubs offer networking opportunities for members where they can interact with other professionals and community leaders, build relationships, and expand their social and professional networks. And whereas service clubs also focus on developing the skills and talents of young people, they provide mentoring, leadership training, and scholarship opportunities for students and organize programs to support underprivileged youth. And whereas these clubs encourage civic engagement by promoting volunteerism and community service, now therefore be it proclaimed that the City Council of the City of Garden Grove does hereby designate September as Service Clubs Month in Garden Grove in appreciation for all the significant contributions these organizations make to our communities. Congratulations.
Maria, you need to come up here. You're on the executive. Come on.
Scoot in a little.
Look at the cameras, huh?
Yeah.
Look at the paparazzi.
So our district governor, Mr. Roy Jefferson, was really pushing to get a month proclaimed Service Club Month for quite a while, and he found out all you had to do is ask. That's what he did. And yeah, I would really like to thank the council on behalf of all the service clubs. You know, we're really lucky we have such a rich community of service clubs. You know, Elks, the Lions, the Rotary, Kiwanis. We have so many clubs helping the city. It's just a fantastic thing. Our club has been around since 1954, 53. And yeah, we've just been a great part, I believe, of the Garden Grove development, and we will in the future as well. So thank you all very much. And anything else you guys want to add? Very good. All right. All righty. Thank you very much. Maria is a big part of our club, as you heard earlier.
Now we will dine and dash.
Hopefully at Sabrosa. All right, I see Michael Hun and Antran, and I see our County Supervisor Vincent Sarmiento standing by. Thank you for your patience as we celebrated everybody else in town. So thanks for hanging in there. We'll go back to item 1D, which is a presentation item, overview of the CalOptima renewal program. Please come forward. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. I feel like I'm here on a very historic night, so I feel very fortunate, and it's a hard act to follow, by the way. I am Vicente Sarmiento. I'm Orange County Supervisor for the 2nd District, which encompasses Santa Ana, Anaheim, Tustin, and Orange, and of course the great city of Garden Grove. So I am here, though, in my capacity as a director at the CalOptima Board, but I also am a former mayor and council member from the city of Santa Ana. So I just wanted to say, Madam Assistant City Manager, congratulations. Thank you for your 26 years of service. I know that you are going to be missed, so it's great to witness just the respect that your council has for you and the members of the public. And to your Housing Authority Manager, you've all been blessed to have people that have served with you that long. It's not common that staff stay on that long, but that's what makes, I think, Garden Grove a great place. And I before I begin, I just want to say, as a director at CalOptima in my short time, I want to say you all have been great partners to work with. I know we're working on the street medicine program. It looks like we're really close, if not done, with maybe acquiring some land and a building to develop with that program. But I simply want to say thank you for the partnership and thank you for the relationship that you've extended to us, because we know you care for your residents, you care for all the issues that are happening. And shout out to Cindy Tran, who was with us last week, I believe, at the Mexican Independence Day celebration. I apologize, Council Member Tran, for not recognizing you. You came in a little late, and my vision without my glasses is really poor. So, but I want to thank you for joining us there. I'm really here just simply to introduce Michael Hun, who is the CEO of CalOptima Health, and An Tran, who is the director of the Orange County Social Service Agency, and they're going to talk to you a little bit more about CalOptima in detail. But I simply want to say that this public health plan that covers almost a third of our county residents, close to 1 million members, has been a real vital source of care for residents that are seniors, veterans, those who are disabled, and those who are low income. And in my district alone, there are nearly 306,000 CalOptima members that are going through a really difficult process right now. They're going through a renewal eligibility process. So we simply want to make sure that the City of Garden Grove and all our partners are engaging with us on a campaign to make sure that people are aware that their eligibility is going to be redetermined during this time. The forecast is a little bleak because we know that we may lose about 200,000 of those 1 million, close to 1 million members we have. We just want to make sure everybody's aware, everybody makes sure to fill out their forms and see if they continue to be eligible, and if not, that we navigate them gently to the exchange or another form of coverage. So that is really the goal of what we're here to talk to you about tonight, to let you know that we're doing this because it will impact many of your residents, and we want to make sure that they're going to be cared for, they're going to have coverage, they're going to be able to move forward. But I also want to extend any support from my office, from the 2nd District, to be able to work on that with you, shoulder to shoulder. So with that, I just want to thank you once again for your partnership. It's been great to witness the real strong relationships you have with your residents, you have with your city staff, and that's what I think has made our relationship with CalOptima a big success. So I just want to thank you for that. So I am going to introduce now Michael Hun and An Tran to go ahead and do some cleanup for me and give you the real solid information. But on my behalf, thank you all, and thank you for the invitation and the space.
Thank you.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here, Mr. Mayor and City Council members. It's wonderful. Lisa Kim. Into 56 years. That's pretty impressive. 26 and 30. You have touched literally tens of thousands of lives. So thank you for that public service. It is a privilege to be here, to be part of that retirement, having never met you or your colleague, but to know the great accolades that must have really touched the city. So you never know when you drop that pebble into the pond where all the ripples are going to go, but I have a feeling you've left behind some wonderful ripples in the great city of Garden Grove. So thank you for your public service very much. So I applaud you for that very much. So again, my name is Michael Hunt. I'm the CEO at CalOptima Health, and I'm here with the Director of the Social Service Agency for the County of Orange, An Tran. And we're going to talk a little bit about the Medi-Cal renewal process. So I'll go to our first slide. The mission of CalOptima Health is really boiled down to two key words, in my opinion, and that's treating those that we provide health insurance for with dignity and respect. And that means they get the health care they need, they get it as timely as possible, and that it improves their lives, their health, and their well-being, both for our member and for our member's family. Next slide. So CalOptima Health was created as a public agency by the Board of Supervisors back in 1994. And at that point, the county made a decision not to create a set of public hospitals. So instead, they created what's called a county organized health system. And what that means for those listening in is that we administer the health plan's care through a network of contracts across the county. We have about 10,000 contracts with providers, including doctors, hospitals, skilled nursing facilities, a host of pharmacies and other medical providers, outpatient clinics, and so forth. And so we're responsible for administering a $4 billion budget. Our budget comes from the state of California and CMS Medicare. So out of $4 billion, 90%, or $3.6 billion, comes from the state. The other $400 million comes from CMS Medicare, and we have a population of Medicare individuals that we care for. We currently insure 980,000 residents in Orange County. Population of Orange County is 3.1 million, so we're basically about a third of the county. We also have a program that's called OneCare, and that's for our seniors who have Medicare and are also eligible for Medi-Cal. And we coordinate the benefits between the Medicare and the Medi-Cal. So an individual senior can keep all full scope benefits of Medi-Cal and all full scope benefits of Medicare. And so it's a wonderful program, and then we coordinate their care so everything is integrated. It's a great program for our seniors. In addition, we administer a program that's called PACE, a program for all-inclusive care of the elderly. And it's really intended to keep a senior in their home, keep them in physical shape, mental health shape, medical shape, medications are in order, physical therapy, nutrition therapy, set them up with transportation to and from, and it also helps coordinate their daycare. And this is an excellent program for seniors. A lot of families end up going out and hiring private duty individuals to come and help take care of mom or dad at home that have debilitating issues or other seniors. This program is there, and it's right here in the city of Garden Grove, just down the street on Garden Grove Boulevard. And so I want folks to understand that. How do you qualify for Medi-Cal? If you're an individual and you make less than $18,000, $19,000 a year, you probably qualify for Medi-Cal. If you're a family of four and you make under $41,000 a year, you probably qualify for Medi-Cal. An Tran and his team at the county, they run the Social Service Agency, and that's where you apply to determine your eligibility. The state then receives the application from the Social Service Agency. They deem an individual eligible. They send that file back to the Social Service Agency, and then the agency lets us know that an individual has qualified, and we issue their insurance card. And then they're eligible to go out and receive the Medi-Cal benefits. There are no copays, there are no deductibles. As you can see from this slide here, we insure 51% of the residents of the city of Garden Grove. It's an awesome responsibility. We're fortunate to have board members like Director Sarmiento, who's also a supervisor, and we have other dedicated board members. We are separate from the county, but a part of the county. Our budget is independent because we receive it directly from the state and the federal government, and then we administer that through our work. We spend 92 to 94 cents of every dollar in our budget on medical care. Our current administrative overhead as of last month is 4.8%. So we're very careful with the administrative overhead part, and the goal is to get those dollars to the members. I'm going to turn it over to An Tran, the Director of the Social Service Agency, to talk about the process right now that's asking every Medi-Cal member in the state to fill out renewal papers, and An will explain that to you all tonight. Thank you.
Mayor Jones, council members, thank you so much for having us here for this very important public service announcement. Michael and I are joining forces to get the word out. And it's important because with the ending of the public health emergency, 1 in 2 Garden Grove residents are at risk of losing the health coverage. That's why we're here. That's why we want to help. And I'm going to talk about some simple steps that residents could do to mitigate some of that and to help them ensure that they are evaluated to see if they're eligible to remain on Medi-Cal. The first step is update your information. What we're going to do at the Social Services Agency is we're going to try to renew your Medi-Cal application automatically. That is the first step that we're going to take. However, if we don't have enough information to take that automated step, we are mandated to contact your residents in order to get that information. But we can't do that if we don't know where they are. A lot of people have moved in the last couple of years. A lot of times addresses have changed, their circumstances have changed. So please update your information. Report your name changes, your mailing address changes, email and phone number changes. There's multiple ways for residents to do that. The easiest way is to log online to benefitscal.com. In the comfort of their own home, they could log into that portal, check the eligibility information, update the contact information, and they don't need to come into the office. The second option is calling the phone number you see here. They could speak with a call agent Monday through Friday until 8 p.m. at night. So we are available to take your call to update any information that you have. And the last option is if they so choose, they can visit one of our many offices as well. So important thing, if anything that your resident get out of this presentation, please update your information so that we could get a hold of you if we need additional information to renew your Medi-Cal. The second step is go online and create an account. This is a new statewide portal that was introduced in April of this year. It allows beneficiaries and your residents to be able to see everything related to their benefits, as well as submit documentation, renew their application online, change their information. But what they need to do is they need to create an account. So we encourage every resident to go into benefitscal.com, create your account, and look at the information that's there and see what you need to do in order for us to evaluate you for ongoing medical coverage. The next step is check your mail. Residents and beneficiaries will receive one of two letters. The first letter is if we are able to renew your Medi-Cal automatically, you don't have to do anything. You will receive a regular white envelope that states that you do not need to do anything and your Medi-Cal benefits will be renewed for another year. However, if we do not have enough information to take that automated step, you will receive a yellow envelope. It is a yellow, bright envelope that will contain your application material as well as instructions on what you need to do, verification that you need to provide in order for us to have the information to renew your Medi-Cal. So please be on the lookout for the yellow envelope. If you receive them, do not delay. Please fill that out as soon as possible and send that back in so we're able to process your application as quickly as possible. And the last step is please don't throw away the yellow envelope. Don't throw away the application. Please, if you need help, call us and we'll be able to help you. Submit your application back as soon as possible, but no later than 60 days. So again, those are some of the easy steps that residents can remember in order for us to determine whether they are eligible for continuing healthcare coverage. And lastly, I'm going to leave with some phone numbers and some contact information in case people need help in order to complete their application or they have additional questions. Again, we are available by phone and online. It is a very easy process. They do not need to come into the office if they so choose, They could do everything online, especially through the new state portal. All right, thank you so much for your time.
Any questions?
Questions? Kim?
Question and a comment. First question, what do you do if you receive someone else's Medi-Cal renewal notice? How can you best help them to ensure that they get what they need to get their Medi-Cal renewed?
Yeah, the best thing to do is contact us so that we could find out where they now live and send them that information. We can't, unfortunately, because of confidentiality, we can't disclose any information about those clients, but we would be happy to forward the information or contact them. Or if you may have information about where the whereabouts, we can update our system and be able to locate them as well.
In my comment, I just wanted to wish Cal Optima PACE a happy 10 years. I was there 10 years ago as a Cal Optima Community Relations staff person. I don't know that I'll be able to attend the celebrations tomorrow, so I wanted to make sure to thank you for all of that you do, especially in District 6, as that's where it's home. And congratulations for 10 years of amazing service to our elderly and disabled community members.
Thank you.
Thank you.
George?
Yeah, hold on, Mike. Oh, I guess he's leaving. One other quick question. So let's say I were to get a yellow envelope. Can I go online and deal with it, or do I have to mail that yellow envelope back?
You could go online. There will be an electronic form of the application that is pre-filled with your information that we have on record, and you could submit that along with any verification you could upload through the portal. You do not need to mail that in, or you do not need to come in. But if you choose to, it will come with a postage page envelope so that you do not have to spend postage for that. So there's many options for us to receive your application.
Thank you.
And I'll add just a little, when in doubt, call our customer service number, and we have a callback model built in so you can leave your number and we'll call you back. We've got about a 98% success rate with that, and people do get confused with this. One of the big issues is they're waiting for the renewal notice, but it's not going to come until the month that they were originally signed up. So that could still be November, December, January, February, March, April. So if they go online and open up that new portal and start their account, it'll tell them when to expect that notice. And when in doubt, they can call our customer service line or the social service agency. We left those numbers. We field about 60 to 70,000 calls a month. The social service agency, 110 to 125,000 a month. So we're happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys. All right. And that's it. That'll conclude our meeting. We're adjourned. Have a good night. Just kidding. But wouldn't that be fun if every single meeting was all about recognitions and celebrations? All right. We will now move to, does anybody want to take a break or should we keep going? What's that? Okay, just let me know. We'll now move on to oral communications. I do have a handful of cards, starting with Nicholas Dibbs. Okay. Yep. Peter Marconi and Rosie Bustos.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. We're here to just thank you guys. Most of the time we've been here complaining about different things, and some of you, we already walked through this bridge over Palm, and we just want to thank you guys because usually this goes unnoticed. You guys hear all the complaints, but never when you guys do the work to give the thanks. So we're here today to thank you and to say that we appreciate what you guys done and keep doing. Actually, this morning I met Officer Steve Ortiz. He keeps checking over there and making sure that everything's clean, that the kids can go through the bridge, and that means a lot. It's a lot of work, and I know it's been a lot of things happening. It's still going to be the fence go up. So we just here to say that, to thank you guys and to see that we noticed that, and we appreciate it. So thank every one of you.
Nicholas? I called you.
Well, I'm sorry. Sorry.
You got 10
Okay,
seconds
anyway,
left.
sorry about that, folks. I was saying hello to some people. My name is Nicholas Dibbs. Pleased to be back here. Well, first off, let me just say, blue light, there's an article that was published regarding August 31st in the St. George News. A growing body of research is finding strong links between sleep, mental health, and screen time in teens and tweens. And it is a vicious cycle, both a lack of sleep and heightened activity involved in the consumption of social media and video games before bedtime can exacerbate or even trigger anxiety and depression. What's more, a chronic sleep deprivation increases the risk of suicide. Studies across the world in over 120,000 youth ages 6 to 18 who engage in any sort of social media have repeatedly shown worsened quality and decreased quantity of sleep. This is happening across the globe, not just in the US. Although social media has some benefits, it's clear that there are significantly more downsides to social media consumption than upsides. For one, scrolling social media requires being awake and hence displaces sleep. Second, the blue light emitted from most handheld devices, even with a filter, a blue light filter or both, is enough to decrease levels of melatonin, the primary hormone that signals the onset of sleep. So basically these issues are troubling enough that in May 2023, the U.S. Surgeon General issued a statement warning of the dangers of social media and encouraging policymakers, teachers, etc., to work together to create a safer online environment. The point is, and this is affecting the mental health of the youth. I mentioned this before. My website, Dibbs Digital Wellness, has resources that can help the parents and the families. But I'm coming to the council saying October 10th is Blue Light Awareness Day. The state Senate passed Senate Concurrent Resolution 773, which provides the research about the harmful effects of blue light, which is what is coming out of these screens. And unless you have blue light filters on your glasses or on the screens, and this is a safety item for not only employees of the city and the school district, but also of the students and so on. So I want to ask the council to please adopt at the next meeting, hopefully, two of you can bring it up as Blue Light Awareness Day. We need to get the word out. So thank you very much, and also my congratulations to Maria. She's going to be missed, and we'll miss her prayers also for each council meeting. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Tia? Or Tia? Yeah. How do I pronounce that properly?
Taya.
Taya. Okay.
Yes, it's a little uncommon. Thank you for having me. My name is Taya Pauley, and I am the small business owner of Eco Now in Orange County. I have retail stores in Anaheim, Costa Mesa, Laguna Beach, and soon to be here in Garden Grove at the new Cottage Industries project. At my stores, community members can bring their own containers to refill on sustainable, non-toxic, handmade, organic, home and body products like laundry detergent, dish soap, hand soap, and skincare products. This is all an effort to reduce waste. I started my business 4 years ago, and I'm really excited to be able to grow and support our Orange County community members who want to live a more eco-friendly lifestyle. Another branch of our brand outside of the retail stores are the community events that we host. We host sustainability marketplaces, clothing swaps, fix-it fairs, compost classes, and much more. On October 4th, we are actually hosting a community cleanup here in Garden Grove as a way to launch our business here in the city. We're meeting right here in front of the main branch library at 11 a.m. Again, that's on October 4th. If any community members want to join, together we will pick up litter in the surrounding area. Not only am I opening a business here in Garden Grove, I am a resident here. I live in this district. I'm married and I have a 1.5-year-old son and another baby on the way. It's very important to me that my family grow up in a healthy and safe community. That being said, I would like to share with you some of my experiences, my perspective living in this district, and some solutions I see that could be had to make the community a little safer and cleaner for everyone. Just today, I was walking through the community center park right here in front of City Hall. I really enjoy the park animals, I enjoy the exercise space, and of course, meeting other community members. But I am concerned with the amount of trash that lingers through the park. On my walk today, I picked up several pieces, everything from poster signs, plastic candy wrappers, drug paraphernalia, Starbucks and McDonald's cups, and the list goes on. I noticed that there was circular garden beds on the corner of each side of the park facing Euclid, and they do not have plants in them, but instead people use them to put their trash in. If these planters had plants in them, people would be deterred to put trash in them. And then also if there is receptacle bins on the exterior of the park, people may put their trash in there instead. I noticed that the trash cans are only on the center of the park. If resources were to allow, perhaps somebody could keep this park clean as well. After all, this is the city center. Finally, I'm noticing the sidewalks that are not complete or safe on the 7th and 8th Street. To make our community members safer, also the people I imagine that are going to walk from Steelcraft to the farm block, the new project, I'd like to see updates to complete the sidewalks and also to make the sidewalks wheelchair accessible. I walk these streets every day with my son, and I'm forced to cross this in the middle of the block or walk onto the street, which can be unsafe. With these small changes, I believe a great improvement in morale and motivation could be had. Community members can feel more proud of their neighborhood and local Garden Grove shared spaces. Thank you guys so much for giving me the time to speak, and I'm excited to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Paul Huang.
Good evening, mayors and city council members. My name is Paul Huang. Welcome back from Korea. Safe trip, right? I'm here for several reasons. One is to bring to awareness again, September is National Suicide Prevention Month. In the country here, every 11 minutes, we have one death due to suicide. Last year, for every 3 high school girls, 1 considered suicide. Suicide has become the leading cause of death for Asian, ages between 13 and 24. These are staggering data that CDC has released. We are fortunate that we have this partnership with the city, with the Be Well Hope team, with the SRT team, as the city's outreach service provider. I had hoped Kawaptama would stay here and listen to this part, because 80% of our clients who are unhoused do not have health insurance, and they do not have an address to get their information changed. And so we will, with the information I've just heard today, we're gonna work with the unhoused individual in our city to get their information updated as best as we can through our own platform. We have one staff, his name is Nathan Lay, and last year he interacted with 168 unduplicated unhoused individuals in the city of Garden Grove. Since July to now, in 3 months, he has interacted with 70 new homeless individuals in a community. So just within 3 months, the number has already increased already. So there's a great concern that our community members unhoused in Garden Grove is increasing. We can't wait till the navigation center opens, because our challenges now is when people are ready to get help, we have no place to send them to. So there's a waiting list. Some of the experiences a lot of community members are afraid and share about the unhoused community members being undocumented. From our experiences of 168 unhoused individuals that we interacted with last year, only 2 are undocumented. So there's a lot of residents, a lot of citizens, community members who are experiencing multiple challenges. The most recent challenges now are with the community of refugees coming over here from Ukraine and Afghan. They are also now part of the homeless population that we are serving. The needs are there in the community, and I want to congratulate Maria as well as Danny as well. I have stories to share about them and their contribution to this effort. Of all the cities that I work with, cities of Garden Grove, right, staff here works 20, 30 years. Says a lot about the city, about the great place, the loyalty, but also the work environment for them to want to stay that long. And so I highly want to applaud all the staff in the city to continue to work together to address the community's needs. There are fundings around available, both county and states, to address homelessness, and I'm sure the cities are also considering that as well. So again, I want to provide a quick, brief update about our street outreach program. I know I thought Tim was supposed to be here to talk about the Cape, but I guess that got postponed. So I'll return the next time to provide some more updates, but thank you.
Thanks, Paul. Jessica Knight.
Not me.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and staff. Benjamin Franklin once said, "Well done is better than well said." I have seen people experience their highest highs and lowest lows here in the council chamber. Some people receive recognition while others just come to complain. I'm not here to receive recognition, and I certainly haven't come here to complain. I'm here to simply give recognition to you, the council members, and the city of Garden Grove. My appreciation is being extended to you because of the wonderful relationship you have with our police department, the efficiency you exhibit when dealing with problems throughout our city, and most importantly, the effort you put into supporting our entire community. As a member of the Garden Grove Police Chiefs Advisory Council, I can genuinely say that whatever the Garden Grove Police Department needs, the City Council usually provides. I have heard several members of the police department speak highly of our City Council, and not a single word out of their mouths has been negative. As a resident of Garden Grove, living in the west side of the city, I realized that the recent sewer and street project on Springdale, Lamson, and also on Chapman Avenue took enormous effort, not only on the construction side of things, but on the administrative and approval side as well. My neighbors, as well as myself, are very happy that the sewer no longer smells and that the street is once again open and being driven upon. Lastly, I recognize that you each are citizens of Garden Grove just like me. The tremendous effort that you all put into being a city council member amazes me. This is especially true for Council Member Breitigam, who spends a lot of his own time informing the community about various things, both on and off social media. You all really inspire me to be more active in my community. So, just as Ben Franklin once said, well done. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Ruby Garcia.
Good evening, Mayor Jones, City Council, City Manager Lisa Kim, and City staff. I just wanted to come in and thank everyone for their support to our Communities Come Together event that was held on September 13th here at the CMC. I am happy to say that we actually tripled in attendance this year from last year, and we hope to grow it each year so we can service as many special ability families as possible. The outpour of love and support from everyone in the city and families is just amazing. Our hearts were full that night watching the families all come together and learn safety with Garden Grove PD. Families also obtained information for groups and services that were available out in the community. Thank you, Mayor Jones, for attending and speaking and for your support that night. Councilwoman Cindy Tran, thank you so much for coming and always being encouraging to us. And always, City Councilwoman Stephanie Kloffenstein, thank you so much for emceeing all of our events and always speaking from the heart. Your support is appreciated from our group, so thank you. And thank you to City Manager Lisa Kim and Maria Stipe for attending and always being positive and smiling and supporting. Maria, we will miss you. You have a special place in our family's heart. And we also wanted to thank our community partners, the Garden Grove Police Department, including Kelly Huynh and Allison Kim, and Chief Alfara. The chief has been super supportive, and so has the Garden Grove Police Department. They're always so gracious and supportive to work with our group. They really trust us in coming up with the safety strategies, and we always love to work together alongside with them as a team. And lastly, thank you to our community partners, Garden Grove Neighborhood Association, Republic Services, Henry's Bar and Grill, John Reynolds Youth Support Canine Foundation, Halo Autism, and Authentic Community Support. We honestly couldn't do it without all these groups. It really does take a village, and every time we call on our village, they're always the first ones to jump in and help us. So we hope to service more special ability families in the future with different events and serve our community more. So I'm gonna let Andy and Aiden take it away.
Thank you.
Nicely.
Thank you. Thank you for coming, Mayor Jones. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, that's all the cards I had received. Is there anyone else wishing to speak on any matters not listed on the agenda? Okay, with that, we will close oral communications. We will quickly conduct some other agency business, so we'll move over to successor agency at this time. Madam Clerk, can you please call roll?
Member Bridegan?
Here.
Member Tran?
Here.
Member Dovin?
Present.
Member Klopfenstein?
Here.
Member Wynn Penaloza? Vice Chair O'Neill?
Here.
And Chair Jones?
Here. Okay, we already did oral communications, consent items. It's just receive and file the minutes. I'll move it.
Second.
Call to vote.
Keep pushing that button. Yep. Motion received, 7 yes votes.
All right, any matters from successor agency members? Seeing none, we will adjourn to sanitary district. And I'll hand it over to President O'Neill.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At this time, I'd like to call the Garden Grove Sanitary District Board of Directors meeting to order. If the clerk could please call the roll.
Member Bridegan?
Here.
Member Dovin?
Present.
Member Klopfenstein?
Here.
Member Wynn Penaloza?
Here.
Member Jones?
Here.
Vice President Tran?
Yeah.
And President O'Neill.
Here. Thank you very much. We've already held oral communications simultaneously with council. This time I'll go to the consent calendar. It's just the minutes. I have a motion and a second. Please call for the vote.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
Thank you. At this time, under matters, we do have one item under 3A for an update on, this is basically a read and file for an update on the refuse contract implementation for the next year, or for this current year, I should say. Or no, actually, yeah, the last year.
Tonight's update is from Mr. Mark Ladney of the Public Works Department, and this is the update on the refuse contract implementation for the period from July 2022 through June 2023, and this was requested by the Sanitary District Board.
President O'Neill, members of the Sanitary District Board, thank you very much. As Ms.
Pomeroy stated, tonight's presentation is a one-year status update with the Sanitary District's new agreement with Republic Services, and also we'll be recapping what our implementation with Senate Bill SB 1383 is at this point. For tonight's presentation, we have with us Jake Kaihiwalu. He is with the City and Sanitary Districts Consultants, HF&H Consultants. Also joining us tonight from Republic Services, we have Mitch Kopchek, who is the new General Manager. We have Michael Johnson, who is the Government Affairs Manager, and we have Fernando Cueva, who is our Commercial Route Supervisor. Tonight's presentation, we'll be talking about the Contract Implementation Update Review, SB 1383 Implementation Update, looking ahead, and then we'll have an area for questions. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to my colleague Jake, who will start us off.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Board, for having us. We're excited to give this update on the work that's been done over the past year. First, we're going to cover contract implementation, some of those specific programs that have been implemented over the past year, and then we will get into some of the performance monitoring that has been happening as well alongside that. Specifically looking at some of the programs that have been implemented, going down the list here, we have SHARPS program. It's a mail-back program that residents received by request. It's a free program that is included in their standard rates, as well as multifamily bulky item collection, extended tree, holiday tree collection towards the end of the year, and extending into January. Bus stops are also included as part of kind of the residential routes that are picked up on a weekly basis. Proactive abandoned item cleanups, that's a team that goes out on Republic's operations team, goes out, sweeps for any of those abandoned items. We've seen a real impact there across the city. Ongoing SB 1383 implementation, but I will give an update in a little bit with single-family residence and city facilities has been completed. We're really excited when we report out to Cower Cycle about the progress there. Edible food recovery is a newer program with support from Abound Food Care. They are a third-party vendor. They do a lot of great work in the area connecting people in need with edible food that is otherwise going to waste. Some items that are in progress, we have an annual shred event that's coming up. Republic is working on with a new truck fleet, as well as an electric truck for recyclable materials collection. And then we'll continue some of the multifamily and business SB 1383 implementation.
So in order to accomplish the implementation of the agreement, the sanitary district staff, HF&H consultants, and Republic meet on a monthly basis to talk about ongoing diversion tracking, legislative compliance with SB 1383, as well as with AB 1826 and 341, which both relate to mandatory commercial programs. We also go over our customer complaint review logs and how we are monitoring those programs throughout their implementation. Additionally, as part of our new agreement with Republic, we are able to conduct a 2-year audit every 2 years on the agreement. That is a reimbursable audit from Republic. So our first audit period will be covering from July of 2022, when the new contract went into effect, until December of 2023. So that audit will be starting in early 2024. So earlier, Jake had mentioned about our proactive abandoned alley item cleanup. This chart is a chart that we use within Public Works from our work order system, where we track these types of complaints. As you can see, there has been a significant number of decrease in complaints that Public Works has received as a direct result of this program. So with this program, Republic has a 2-person crew that goes through to, I believe it's around 55 to 60 hotspots every single week. And then in addition to those hotspot locations, we are able to send them additional locations that are reported to us that just need some additional attention.
Next, we'll get into some of the complaint log analysis. Up here on the presentation, you'll notice that the period that we're looking at goes from January to June 2023. That's a caveat with some of the analysis that we've done here. We did notice that the original reports we were receiving didn't give us enough detail, didn't get as granular as we wanted to, and able to make some of those insightful decisions that we hope to make and change in the programs. So beginning January 2023, we implemented new reporting system and new analysis of those complaints. So moving forward, we have standardized data to look at. Actually, can we go back one slide? Thanks, Mark. I do want to highlight here the difference between a complaint and an escalation. We had this cleared up with Republic's customer service team and manager there. The way that these are logged in their system and how they are reported, escalation is usually one of two cases. The first case is where there is an original complaint that's logged, and they can tie it to an original incident that has not yet been resolved. Another way that an escalation can be created is if the customer requests to speak to a supervisor and the customer service representative is not able to de-escalate that call. So we did notice here from January to June almost a 150% increase in those escalations. I do want to add some context here though. There's over 30,000 customers that within Garden Grove Sanitary District. So combined complaint and escalations on a month-to-month basis, we're looking at less than 1% there with the total number of complaints and escalations that are coming in and being logged at the call center. But we did want to address the reason for the increase in escalations, which we'll get into on the next slide as well. We're looking at here the total number of escalations within the 6-month period. We broke it out into a few different groups here. We have bulky mist collection, general service issues with temporary containers, residential mist collection, commercial mist collection, and container exchanges. I want to highlight the two highest categories here, commercial mist collection and container exchange. You'll notice that commercial mist collection, most of that bar is dark, so we're getting that the highest level of escalations in the most recent months of April, May, and June. Whereas with container exchange, it was pretty heavy in the beginning of the year, January, February, and March. This aligns with some of the issues that were experienced industry-wide with container inventory. We still see continuous container exchange issues. We monitor that. I think Mark has a little bit of insight in terms of the reason for that container exchange, which we'll get into in a second. Commercial mist collection as well, more recent months, as I mentioned, April, May, and June. We're seeing this align with the implementation of the new commercial programs that have been implemented as part of SB 1383. Automatic enrollment and deliveries really ramped up within the last few months. So we do see some alignment there with the timing of those programs being implemented and the rerouting that has to happen there.
So part of the inventory issues, supply chain issues, if you want to say it that way, Jake mentioned, is all of the trash haulers in Southern California are implementing these programs at the exact same time. So everyone is fighting with the manufacturers to try to get these carts as quickly as possible. Within Garden Grove, our new agreement that we have with Republic states that anytime there is a cart exchange, it needs to be done with an SB 1383 compliant cart. which includes labels on each cart for what can go in that particular cart. Also as part of our agreement with Republic in 2027, we will be doing a full citywide changeout to SB 1383 compliant carts, both on the commercial and on the residential side. Republic has in the past, when they do have a large number of container exchanges that have built up, they do bring in outside contractors to help them address that. However, sometimes the requests for those containers exceed the number of containers that are able to be delivered from those producers.
Switching gears a little bit here, this graphic displays the mist collection work orders, and work order may not be the correct term for this, but in the system, when Republic logs a mist collection, rather than documenting it as a complaint or an escalation, it goes into a separate category here for that initial report of the mist collection. So we're looking at a separate set of data than what we had up on the screen before, but it does align with those increase in escalations related to commercial service. You'll see that yellow bar there within April, May, and June has really expanded within the last quarter. That also aligns with, again, as I mentioned, the implementation of the SB 1383 programs that have been going on with the automatic enrollment as required by SB 1383. To add additional context to the missed collections that we have reported here, we always like to highlight the number of service opportunities that exist within the service area. So for the Garden Grove Sanitary District, we have a total of about 2.6 million service opportunities. Another way to think about a service opportunity is just a lift. So it's tipping the container into the truck. It's the number of stops, including the number of containers on site for that stop. So that puts it into context about how many missed collections are happening and being reported. We're at 0.092% over the 6-month period. It just allows us to add a bit of context there to the missed collections that are being reported here.
And along those lines, some of the residents and businesses in the community call to report missed collections, and they're logged in the system as a missed collection. However, per the agreement we have with Republic, it's not considered a missed collection until after it's been 24 hours. So if your normal service day was on Monday, they don't service you on Monday, but they come on Tuesday, that's within that 24-hour window, so it's not technically a missed collection. If they didn't service that same cart until Wednesday, then that would be the missed collection per the agreement. So when the new agreement went into place, we started tracking customer calls and complaints from within Public Works. And going along with the infographics that we have already shown, we can see that the largest area that we have had commercial collection issues have been on the commercial multifamily side. And these are, it doesn't, even though it's just listed as commercial multifamily, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a missed collection. It could be any type of issue that is dealing with a issue dealing with commercial and multifamily. The reason that we combine commercial and multifamily service into the same category is because they are serviced by the same type of trucks. They're both, most of the multifamily properties are on dumpster service, so they're considered a commercial collection. So to address some of the issues that Republic has been encountering, I talk with Fernando, our commercial supervisor, on a regular basis. I talk with Chris Edwards, our residential supervisor, on a regular basis. We are very fortunate to have dedicated route supervisors for both residential collection and for commercial collection. Part of the reason why I say that is on the residential side, there's actually 16 trash trucks that operate per day in Garden Grove, just on residential collection. There's 8 trash trucks that deal with solid waste, 4 trash trucks that deal with recyclable materials, and an additional 4 trucks that deal with the organic material, or now we're calling it organic, used to be yard waste. As stated before, Republic does use third-party contractors for container deliveries and also as needed with bulky item pickups. When they do get too backlogged, they do bring in an outside company to assist them in collecting those items. Some of the things that we have been working with Republic on is to do a rerouting to reduce route density, especially on those commercial routes. Some of the early service enhancements that have come out of that is we've been able to expand general recycling service from 3 days a week to 5 days per week. And Republic is also even starting to introduce additional trucks onto those routes to handle increases due to SB 1383 compliance. And the same thing with commercial organics is now we have a route dedicated just to Garden Grove that also serves 5 days a week. And Republic is also getting ready to increase the number of trucks on those routes as we start rolling out the programs to multifamily properties. Jake, do you want to start with the SB 1383 implementation?
Yeah, we'll get into this update. We didn't cover too much of SB 1383 before we got into the programs. We do just want to check in, give a progress update on what's first of all required of the district as a brief reminder, and where we are at currently and where we are headed into 2024 as well. Senate Bill 1383 requires Garden Grove Sanitary District to provide at the most basic level that affects both residents and businesses within the community is having yard waste, food waste, and recycling service available to all generators. Prior to this, co-collected organics, which is commingling your yard waste and food waste, was not a widespread service within the business, the commercial business and multifamily sectors. So that's been the largest of the focus here when we talk about automatic enrollment. That's where most of the resources have been, not only within Public Works, but with HF&H's assistance, and then also Republic's resources as well. All of the logistics involved with that. Sanitary District adopted a local ordinance, checked that box in December 2021, which allows the district also to receive grant funding from CalRecycle as well. So being on top of that has helped the district receive that funding. Public education and outreach, that's an ongoing project in itself. Luckily, we have both Republic and the city's public information office really putting a lot of effort into that. When we go to our solid waste conferences, I always like to brag about the Garden Grove Sanitary District with all of the work that's been done there.
And then one of the other items is that required under SB 1383 is establishing an edible food recovery program for businesses. So businesses are categorized as either a Tier 1 facility or a Tier 2 facility under both SB 1383 and the local ordinance that the Sanitary District adopted, and those are a variety of different businesses. Tier 2 facilities are going to be restaurants up to or larger than 5,000 square feet, hotels, things like that. Tier 1 businesses are things like grocery stores, convenience stores, that type of thing. And so what it is they are required under 1383 to divert the amount of edible food that can still be used. So if it's something that's been sitting out for a while and it no longer meets health department guidelines, it is not considered a food item that can be donated for the edible food program. That food would then go in the food waste bin, whereas the food that still meets health department guidelines needs to be diverted to a local nonprofit for reuse. We're very lucky in the city that we have Bracken's Kitchen that is actually one of the reuse kitchens within the area.
We already discussed some of these the status updates for some of these groups, but I do want to highlight a couple of other items here. As I mentioned, single-family residential programs are in place. Luckily, we were able to use the existing yard waste containers and adapt those to accept the food waste. A lot less logistics involved in that program, right? So we're still, because of that, the focus, as I mentioned, is on the commercial and multifamily sector. I don't want to forget the work that Mark did on the city facility and large event front. There are requirements in there for all of the city facilities to have these services. So Mark did a good job at making sure that the facilities here are equipped with the necessary services, and that every time there's a large event that qualifies as an event subject to SB 1383, sanitary district members and Republic are meeting with those event organizers to make sure that they are implementing the correct programs there, which is not an easy task. I do want to quickly discuss the current status with implementation on multifamily dwellings. This is the most challenging group here. There's also a lot less accounts, however, than with the commercial group. Republic has started communication as well as city communication to this sector to implement these programs, making sure that we're connecting with both the landlord, property managers, property owners, as well as the generators on site within each of those units that are going to be actually using these programs as well.
One area that I'd like to highlight that I left off the last slide, going back to edible food recovery, is Jay's Catering. Jay's Catering is not considered a Tier 1 or Tier 2 facility, and they are actively participating in the edible food recovery program voluntarily. They are not required to. Within 2 weeks of them signing up with Abound Food Care, they had a situation where they had a lot of excess edible food that they were actually successfully able to donate to a local nonprofit. So I would just like to sort of specifically mention Jay's Catering for their efforts in doing that, because like I said, they're not required to do it, they're voluntarily complying.
Highlighting specifically auto enrollment for commercial and multifamily properties, just to recap some of the outreach that happens to these generators, we realize that this is a whole new concept for a lot of people that are not familiar. Some of them do not even have recycling services, and they definitely are not familiar with the concept of recycling food scraps, right? So it's a behavior change that needs to happen, and it's going to take some time. Luckily, the Sanitary District and Republic has worked together to put together this outreach program that explains all of this with an initial letter. We have Republic Sustainability Advisors. There's a total of 2.5 full-time equivalent sustainability advisors that are tasked with making direct contact with all of these generators. We're also providing opportunity to right size and obtain a waiver for specific generators that do qualify, and the sustainability advisors are providing those generators with the best option for them based on their current situation.
Got a few more slides, so please bear with us. So looking ahead into 2024, we're already actually working on items that we've already discussed. We've already, the Sanitary District in conjunction with Republic Services has basically finished our auto enrollment of commercial properties, and we're in the process of starting that same process with multifamily properties. So we anticipate that all of the multifamily properties in the district boundaries will be auto-enrolled by the end of January 2024, which is still in alliance with our corrective action plan that we have entered into with CalRecycle. Some of the more important things that are coming in January 2024 include implementing an inspection and compliance program, and then also implementing a program that imposes penalties for non-compliance. These are already set up within the code that was adopted back in December 2021 as an administrative fine structure that is similar to the process that the city of Garden Grove uses for its fines. And then also coming up, as stated, so this Saturday over here at the Community Meeting Center slash Senior Center parking lot, we do have a shredding and electronic waste event. That we're also doing a community cleanup day. So if you have papers that need to be shredded, if you have large items that need to be disposed of, if you have e-waste around your house, Also, we are getting 250 bags of compost that is being provided by Orange County Waste and Recycling. That will be available for pickup. Some of the other things we have going on are a scholarship program that Republic is going to be providing information on at a later date and time, as well as an environmental business ambassador program. Some of our ongoing problems is we have the household hazardous waste with the 4 county-wide collection sites. We have our Sharps disposal program, and then also we have the bulky item pickup program for both single and multifamily residences that we are trying to get the word out about as much as we can. So at this point, I'd like to invite our representatives from Republic to come on up. And if the board has any questions, we are more than willing to answer them.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. It's a dirty job, right? And somebody's got to do it. It's one of the most intense services that the city has to provide besides water and sewer. I want everybody to keep in mind, you know, everybody expects us to go without a glitch, but things do happen and there are problems. But imagine 30,000 trash, deliveries every week or pickups every week. It's pretty intense, but we do a pretty good job. And this council, when we renegotiated the contract with Republic and has been working very good with us, we actually lowered everybody's residential rate, which is unheard of in most cities. So we work together to do the best job possible on a daily basis. You guys take the brunt of any complaints, and we realize that, but we try to get it corrected as soon as possible, and this council will help do that. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I know you don't get many thanks, it's always a complaint, but thank you for me and this council, we thank you. But I'll go ahead and turn it over to the Republic representatives, and thank you, by the way, for being here. 3 or 4 of you, here today, we really appreciate it.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council, and City staff. My name is Mitch Kopchak. I'm the new general manager for the Anaheim market as of last Monday, so I apologize if I can't answer a question about what's going on. That's why we brought our team as well. A little bit about myself. I've been with Republic Services over 9 years across the country in different states, most recently in North Los Angeles. So I look forward to the continued partnership that we have and continuing to build that relationship with you.
Much. Any question? Yeah.
Thank you. First question in regards to the slide that had the graph with the data for escalations, complaints, and damage leak spills. First question is, who collected that data? Was it them that provided it to us?
Yes,
Okay.
the Republic provided about 95% of the data that was presented.
Can we go back one more? Right there. So my question is, can you explain to me the different categories and how that, what is an escalation? Because it's showing, I'm assuming that's 340 calls. And damage and leak, that's 6 calls. And then complaints is 16. So I'm
No.
trying to understand why that, I'm directing it at them, but I'm just looking to make sure that I understood what this graph is trying to illustrate. Because 6 and 16 don't equal 340, so I'm trying to understand what led to a 340 escalation calls, if that's what that is measuring.
I can provide a little bit more insight on this one. I worked with the Republic team that provided this data to break it down a little bit. These are 3 separate categories that are coded differently based on the customer service representative logging it into the system. We have damage leak spill separate because it kind of has to do with, it's separate in their system because the response is separate. They have a team that goes out to address that. The difference between the complaint and escalation, Mark, if you'll go on to the next slide really quickly. So within a complaint and escalation, it can be broken down into these distinct categories here, but the way that it's logged in the system, if it's a complaint, it's an initial request or complaint new to that customer. If it's an escalation, it either means that it may be a new complaint that came in, but it's escalated because they requested to speak to a supervisor to have their response answered, maybe with a different team with more communication, or it's a follow-up to a previous complaint or escalation as well. So I will say even some of these escalations, as we're going through the list, if we look at the source data, there are many customers or there are many escalations that are from the same customer, and it's an ongoing service issue that may not have been corrected. So that's an instance that that may happen within the escalation data as well.
So for June, there was 362 calls. 6 of them were related to damage, leaks, and spills. 16 were complaints, and 340 were escalations. What would have been helpful is to know what those escalations were about, so that way we could better understand what some of those issues are. If there are 306, the way that it's broken up just is difficult to kind of break down. That's why I'm asking that question. In the chart that's provided on page 14 of 14 of our council report, there's a separate little data that kind of gets to where I'm going with this, and that it provides the total calls per month so that I can understand better what this graph is trying to illustrate, because it's not clear here. So maybe that's something that we want to look at, because if someone doesn't have the context that there was a total of 362 calls, they may not know what they're looking at here. But then also knowing what those 340 calls consisted of would be helpful for us to know. If I'm calling because damage and leak didn't get help the first time and I'm asking if I can speak to a supervisor, I'm assuming that counts as an escalation. But that's a category that's already tabulated here separately. So are we documenting that twice? Is it only the one time? So maybe some second pair of eyes at this data so that it's a little more clear and consistent would be really helpful. My next question is in regards to miscollection of for the 24-hour period. If someone reports a missed collection on a Monday, it's not picked up on Tuesday, it is picked up on Wednesday, and that's not within the 24 hours. Is that being reported to us as 24 hours, or are we getting somehow notified that it was actually missed 2 days? Because to say that they were missed on Monday, they were missed on Tuesday is only a one-day incident is disingenuous and not accurate for us to have that information. So I want to know how that data is being collected as far as misses.
Okay, so when it comes to that, that's a miss. Let's just say you call me on Monday. I'm not able to recover you on Tuesday, and I do on Wednesday. When I get that information, I usually get an email from many people. So I do a reply all, it's been recovered, driver en route. I can't really tell you, sometimes I get that late.
Sure.
So as soon as I get it, like for example, if you were to call me, my phone, work phone has hundreds of phone calls, how many numbers of everybody. I have everybody's address and name, so when they call me, I know where it's at. Hey, what's going on? They send me a text, I wasn't picked up right away. Sometimes there's a disconnect with our customer service where I don't get that message fast enough. Sure. And that causes it to trickle down to an extra day or an extra day after that. So my job, I always tell everybody, call whoever, email whoever you want to do, just give me a chance to pick you up.
Sure.
As soon as I get to know if it's by no later than 1 o'clock, I'll get you recovered. Because my drivers do start at 4:30, so their time is limited when it comes near the end of the day. If we have a truck that breaks down, if I have to, I'll pull another driver. I don't do that very often because then that means I pull away from that other route, and then I have 10 escalations to take care of one. So I have to really think about it before I do it, but it's usually a disconnect that sometimes I don't get to it fast enough.
And I totally understand, and it's within the 24-hour time frame in most cases, so the ding doesn't count because of the contract language. But I think for our end to know, as far as constituents' calls and complaints, I've never gotten as many calls for missed collections in my entire 7 years on this dais as I have in the last 12 months. And so I just want to know how we're collecting that data. It's not so much a ding on you because the contract specifically states 24 hours, but as a resident, as a council person who has to answer to other residents, there's a huge difference between I called you on Monday and you didn't get it to me until Wednesday or Thursday or Friday, and we're calculating it. I don't want it to be like that clock didn't start till Wednesday because you missed it on Monday, so I should know that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, however many days.
Yeah, when it comes to that, I'm not sure how it gets collected or who actually does the tick mark. Like I said, all I do is I get told, I get it recovered as soon as possible. But I couldn't tell you, if it comes straight from Mark, I'd say, okay, Mark, it's been recovered. They're on their way. I'll email you when it's done.
I think we need to find a better way to collect that data, because if it's a particular house on a particular street or a particular apartment complex, we know what date it's supposed to be collected and what the usual time should be. So there's a way to gather that data, and I think we need to start doing that. just for the sake of full transparency and making sure that we're addressing the two issues around miscollections. Because like I said, in my 7 years, I've never received as many calls regarding miscollections, and it could be a numerous amount of different issues. I'm not saying it's your fault, it's our fault, it's whoever's fault. Just better collection of data equals better chances to fix and remediate an issue. So the better that we're collecting and tabulating that is going to be better all around. Because again, 24 hours, the clock doesn't start. I don't think that's fair as far as transparent information. But as far as like coming back and dinging them on the contract, I'm fine with that language, but the data should be collected more timely and accurate. That's all that I have.
We will incorporate that into our next quarterly report. It's what happens is Republic provides us with the raw data, and then we go through the raw data and do all of the classifications and characterizations. So we will incorporate that into our next round.
I think Director Trahan has a question.
Yeah, I have two things. First, very similar what Councilmember Kim Nguyen mentioned, relate to people calling. First, when they called me that the trash were mispicked up a couple of times, and I thought that was, unusual. And then I hear more and more, and so I told our staff and someone, talked to the public service, whoever, and then a couple of weeks later, I come back and they said, no one took the trash. They're like, what? So anyway, so my thought is that the way that you explain it seems like that's gonna be happen again, because I don't see, unless you tell me there's a way that you can have, okay, this person have this route, and so he know where he's supposed to pick up, or is that gonna be another miss one again? Like, what was the root cause for that?
Yeah, well, it comes to, the root cause could be one of different things. One, a driver goes on vacation, so they give me a relief driver who doesn't know the route. So from one day, he can't learn it in one day. So that's one cause. Another cause, let's say a truck breaks down. If a truck breaks down, it could be down in an hour for a flat. You know what, last week I had a truck, their transmission blew up. That was it for that truck, and it's gonna be out for a few weeks. So we have to wait to get a replacement truck, or they go to the shop, is there one available? Let me grab one, and let's go ahead and continue with the route. By then, it could be 2 hours, 3 hours, it could be an hour. Then we just fall behind that one day. So I have to put out a call blast, like a robocall we have, and then I have to formulate a plan for the next day. Okay, I need you to pull off and pull these extra 20 bins from this route, don't miss here. So I have to plan everything every day. When I find out I have an escalation where somebody is called more than once, I put that on what I call my hot list. So I go to the driver, reach out, hey, these people have been calling in, make sure you pick them up. I try to get 100% every day. That is my goal. That's never gonna change. Can I get 100%? Maybe not, but there's at least a goal that I'm trying to achieve. So with that, I'm like, okay, guys, this is what's going on, please recover. Or if I get a late list where it's past 2 o'clock, I give it to the drivers when they come in, make sure you recover this by tomorrow. First thing in the morning. So they know, they go to that stop, and then they continue for the rest of the day. If it's something that happens in the middle of the day, I send an email out to Mark, it'll be recovered by end of day. When I get notice, I notify the city or my bosses, whoever asked me for that escalation, and I go ahead and take care of it. So that's how I deal with it on a normal basis.
So at present, if anyone have the trash that someone mispicked up, then is there a process? Like you just go to the website, you make a phone call, and then that will get in the queue, or just?
It should get into the queue, but sometimes I don't get it fast enough.
But there's no like a one place that people just go there and like a website or a phone
They
number?
go to the website, they say to miss pickup, and then I get it. It may take a day for me to get it. So when I do get those calls and I say, please, here is my number. You get missed by 12 o'clock, you call me. I'll say, okay, I will make sure somebody recovers it. Regardless if the truck is down or whatever, I'll make sure they get recovered that day. I mean, that's my personal commitment to the city, to the people.
Thank you.
Director Friday.
We love talking trash. All right. So, honestly, in the last 3 months, I've probably gotten more complaints regarding trash pickup than I have in the 4 years before. So something in the last 3 months has gone sideways. I don't know if that's internal, whatever. I share Councilman Wynn's frustrations with that. I look at those slides and, you know, only 1% failure rate. Well, that's pretty good, but over a 3-month period, if you look at the whole time, it's closer to 2. And I kind of always adopted this motto, and the city actually recently adopted it: quality through continuous improvement. You know, okay, 1.5%, 2%, you're doing okay, but what are we doing to make things better? Can you let me, I mean, I'm sure could you let me know?
I can tell you exactly what I'm doing. So what I did a few months back, I got with our corporate and I asked them to please help us reroute because our routes are getting bigger. Ever since after COVID, people are getting more service, more service, more service. I still have my routes got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then we just recently got new trucks. I've gotten the registration form, so we're gonna pick that up so I can go ahead and change the routes and make them smaller, make them to the way they were pre-COVID. Our number of lifts are just ridiculous. We do over 2,000 a day. So when a truck goes down, it really beats us up. When a driver is not there, it really beats me up. So I have to say, okay, what can I do to fix things? I just got my trucks. All right, corporate, please make my routes smaller. Create a little bit more routes. Give me 1 to 2 more routes. Now instead of 190 a day, they can go down to 140. Much more manageable. Much more less missed pickups. So I've been formulating that for a couple months, I think, and we're almost about to implement the reroutes where they're gonna be smaller. I had routes that were running only 3 days. Pre-COVID, that's great. After COVID, that's ridiculous. So 5 days. Organics, I created a 5-day route. Recycle, a 5-day route. I'm adding extra trucks to both organics and recycle because of the SB 1383. Because I know when our multifamily rolls out, that's going to be 935 stops of each.
When are these going to come into effect? The smaller routes,
So our
trucks?
area routing manager has committed the next 4 weeks to be in Anaheim to help. We have 7 new trucks that will be in Garden Grove by Monday. I believe we just got the registration, so they'll be in the city by Monday.
That's 7 additional trucks, or
7
just
new trucks.
7 replacing
Some of them are
other?
per the contract. Some of them we're going to add some routes, like he said.
It's for both. So it's
Yes.
either if I need to create a new route, I have an extra truck for it. I'm more focused on the SB 1383 and the creation of new routes so I can bring my bin count lower per driver. And then as new trucks come in, they're going to be more replacements.
And then we have 14 drivers in training right now. 4 of them will be released on Friday. So.
And I guess lastly, I get usually, and I guess what do you, that would be the big graph that you show there, but people have contacted Republic a few times and they're at wit's end, and so they fire off a email to their council member, or they leave me a nasty voicemail. And so the common consensus, and this is just feedback for you as a company, evidently there's a young lady that answers the phone when you call Republic. Everybody loves her. She has got awesome people skills. I don't know who she is. I've never talked to her. But I've heard about this young lady over and over again. And then there's another person there who I'm not going to mention, who may be a little gruff, a little bitter. And so just food for thought. You might want to get more people like her answering the phone. No, not you. So just food for thought. People seem to be very happy with, the service when she's dealing with them, and she tends to take care of problems and she deals with conflict well, because people, when they call, they're not usually happy.
No. When I get my messages, they're not either.
So I'm sure you know who she is. I have no clue. I haven't met her, but I've heard from different community members about the girl that works there and how great she is. So.
I'd like to know who she is.
I don't know. Do you need that?
No, because our customer service, they work from home, and it's usually out of the Southwest, from Arizona, Phoenix. It's where they call in
okay.
from.
I thought there was somebody in
No,
your-
I
oh,
wish
okay.
it was, because then we would be able to work better with them.
Yeah, okay. Well, food for thought.
When people do call the local Republic number, the 714-238-3300 number, that phone number is answered by one of 16 customer service reps who is dedicated to the Anaheim business unit. If they call a 800 number found on a random website, that's going to go directly to any one of Republic's call centers throughout the country.
So
whereas
you have like
the
a 1
work-
in 16 chance of getting her. All right. It's all right.
But like I said, there are those 16 people at that phone number who are dedicated to doing customer service directly for the Anaheim Business Unit, which is where our contract operates out of.
Thank you. So to sum it up, I think what I'm hearing is that, the last 3 months, we're going through kind of a transition here. We're coming out of the pandemic. We have a new contract. You're reorganizing routes. I've lived in the city my entire life, and when the routes were pre-pandemic, the routes are the same. You got the same driver constantly on that route forever. He knows the route. Things are changing right now, and we're trying to change it for better. So bear with us. We're going to work with that. I mean, we had the same mailman in my neighborhood for 30 years, never missed a mail. And then all of a sudden the new guy comes on and you can't get your mail to save your life. But you got to be patient. And, with the trash, it's very challenging, and we're going through a transition here. Sounds like you're on top of it as far as creating these new routes, getting us the trucks we need, and the people. I'm sure there's turnover. If you get a different driver, I don't even know how they do it, to be honest, because, you got to go so many houses every day. But we appreciate it. Thank you for any other questions from directors? No? Okay, so we're going to sum it up here. Thank you for the report, your due diligence on solving these issues with gathering the data. Most and foremost, taking care of the customers. When you get that call, pick up the trash. That's what we do. If some constituent calls us, we're all going to get together and get on it to get it fixed. So that's what we're doing. So thanks for coming tonight. We're going to wrap this up.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that was just a read and file, I believe. Is that correct? Yes, thank you. At this time, we're going to go ahead and adjourn the sanitary district meeting, and the next one will be on Tuesday, October 24th, right here in this chamber. Back over to City Council.
All right. Does anybody want a few-minute break, or should we keep powering through?
Might as well plow through.
Okay. Takes us to consent items. We already did 3A through 3D, so it's recommended that 3E through 3O be acted on simultaneously, unless anyone would like to pull.
Move to approve. Second.
Call to vote.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
Okay, public hearings, item 4A. Capper time.
Item 4A is acceptance of the fiscal year 2022-23 Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report. And Mr. Throne is here to give that report.
Hello and good evening, Mayor and council members. Purpose of the report before you is to request City Council conduct a public hearing regarding the city's fiscal year 22-23 Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report, otherwise known as the CAPER, and to recommend the report submission to HUD. The CAPER details how the city carried out the projects and activities identified in the previously approved fiscal year 22-23 action plan. The CAPER evaluates the city's progress towards the priority objectives, addressing housing and community needs, as outlined in the 5-year consolidated plan. The reporting period for this CAPER is from July 1, 2022 through June 30th, 2023. During fiscal year 22-23, the city utilized federal funding to expand or preserve affordable housing opportunities, improve low-income neighborhoods through public infrastructure improvements, and assist special needs groups such as senior citizens, homeless, and at-risk individuals. Overall, the city assisted 22,748 low-income individuals through various programs and services. Highlights of 22-23 accomplishments include created and retained 47 jobs through the Jobs First program, provided 369 home-delivered and congregate meals to Garden Grove seniors through the Meals on Wheels program, provided rental assistance to 31 homeless and at-risk households through the HEART program, provided homeless services to 178 individuals, assisted 3,050 low-income residents through infrastructure development, assisted 18 low-income households with home repair grants, assisted 6,660 low-income residents with public and community services, and provided community outreach and education to 7,319 individuals. Additionally, the fiscal year 2019-2020 action plan was amended to include CARES Act funding that was awarded to the city by HUD in April 2020. CARES Act funding, expenditures, and performance outcomes for completed projects are included in this CAPER. In total, the city expended an additional $1,416,507 in CARES Act funding in fiscal year 22-23 to develop and expand programs in response to the coronavirus. Accomplishments include: we provided mental health and wellness services to 4,509 individuals through the Be Well Mobile Response Unit, provided an additional 30 individuals with workforce development services through the WARP program, provided 178 additional homeless individuals with street outreach, homeless prevention, and emergency shelter, as well as provided 70 households or 174 individuals with rapid rehousing assistance. Per the HUD-approved citizen participation plan, the city is required to make the CAPER available for public review and comment for a minimum of 30 days. A public notice was published in English, Spanish, and Vietnamese newspapers announcing the public comment period for the CAPER, which is from August 25th through the end of this public hearing today. All public comments received are included in the final submission of the CAPER to HUD. It's my recommendation that City Council conduct a public hearing for the fiscal year 22-23 CAPER and accept the report and direct its transmission to HUD. This concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions council may have following the close of the public hearing.
Thank you, Timothy. Any questions before we open the public hearing? Okay, this is a public hearing item, so we'll open it. Anyone wishing to speak? All righty, seeing none, we will close the public hearing. Colleagues, questions, comments, or a motion? Call to vote.
I have a question. We're missing John.
Oh, that's true. Should we wait for John to get here?
Wait or just?
It's up to you. We could,
I vote aye. Sorry about that.
Now we're good. Okay,
Nature
call to vote.
calls.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks for waiting. Future call.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
Thank you, council.
Thank you, guys. All right, that takes us on to items for consideration 5A.
Item 5A is the Civic Center Revitalization Project Update and approval of design development phase, authorization of a authorization of a negotiation of final terms, and execution of an exclusive negotiation agreement. And Ms. Kim, our city manager, will give this report.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. I'm pleased to bring forward an update on the status of the P3 project and recommend a development team and enter into a design development phase. As Council may recall, we have done some significant progress on this project, including a feasibility review, a site location determination, community engagement, and release of an RFQ. Tonight, staff is recommending award of a development team, and I'm going to reintroduce Victoria Taylor from PFAL, our consultant, that will go over the RFQ process and the recommendation this evening.
Thank you, Lisa. I'd also like to introduce my colleague, Caroline Judy. She'll be helping me present on our past work here. We're ready. Yeah. There you go.
Good evening, Council. We started this contract with PFAL and your city in July of last year, and I just want to acknowledge the tremendous amount of work that's happened and the leadership of the city team, as well as the guidance that we've received from you. So a lot of work went into, we've started up here, Prezo. It's coming. I'm going to talk. I know it's been a long night already, so I'm going to keep going. So we're going to briefly summarize the progress that we've made in the first 3 phases of the project. And just to remind you, in phase 1, We received your input on goals and objectives. We validated the prior program from the Dewberry study and looked at the overall space program, and we fine-tuned that. We provided the council with an update on visioning and massing. I'm on the next slide too. And I'll just move it forward. There we go. Phase 1. That update to your council on visioning and site massing was in January of this year. We received your feedback and preference for a design, build, finance approach in order to expedite project delivery. And I'll go next slide. We conducted market sounding with a request for information. We started work with PlaceWorks team on community engagement and worked with Michael Baker, launched the CEQA process, and then also provided some updates to your council again in May and June and started work on our RFQ with minimum design specs, room data sheets, and drafted a draft exclusive negotiation agreement. Through all that process, we did a little bit of program refinement and ended up with a approximate size of about 90,000 square feet and a parking garage of 450 vehicles or so. Okay. At the end of July, we posted the request for qualifications out to the market, and then continued on in here in phase 3 with our community engagement process, and Michael Baker is working hard on the CEQA, and we'll be bringing that back to the council in the first quarter of next year. And then we are continuing through with your discussion and consideration this evening on the exclusive negotiations period. That's the final phase of this phase 3. And with that, no, I got one more. Community outreach, just a recap here. There have been a lot of events. I think over 11 events, received over 1,900 comments back from folks and had a number of engagements. So all very positive. And then, as I mentioned on CEQA's underway, and we will be bringing back in first quarter of next year. And then back to Tori.
Thanks. All right, so the RFQ was issued at the end of July. It was intended to be a comprehensive document that included a description of what it was that the city was looking for all 3 project components, being the new police station, the new Civic Center Park, and also the new parking structure that it required. We wanted also to ensure a rapid transfer of our knowledge and information to the developers, especially so that the development community recognized the amount of work that has gone into this project so far, and that they could quickly assimilate the information that's been developed. So a comprehensive set of project specifications was included with the RFQ. This slide is showing you an example of the program requirements that was developed by our team, partly validated the information that had been developed by Dewberry. So the intent here is not to take you through this slide, but just to show you an example of some of the information that was included in the RFQ. Similarly, our team developed room data sheets that describe the features of each of the different rooms that are required in the police station. It also includes these adjacency diagrams, which show the building layout and division locations, which are intended to support efficient operations within the new police station. The RFQ evaluation objectives were very carefully considered by the city team. There was a long list of criteria that was communicated to the development community. And we really challenged bidders to provide a plan for how they would approach and accomplish the city's goals. And also we looked for information on things like their experience engaging with union labor under a PLA, engaging disadvantaged businesses, their safety records, as well as the track records and history of their teams in providing high quality architecture, construction, and project management services. The evaluation criteria was weighted to reflect the things that the city felt was most important. There were 6 different criteria with a total possible point scoring of 100 points. And I'm pleased to report that we received 6 very high quality responses to the RFQ. So the statements of qualification that came through were received from 6 different teams who submitted reflections of they're very highly capable teams and the qualifications that they had in completing similar projects in California and elsewhere. Ultimately, the city decided to shortlist 4 firms for interviews. Those interviews were held on the 14th. And the next step in this process, the second phase, which is where we currently are, culminates in the selection of the developer and the initiation of the negotiation for the design and guaranteed maximum price under which the developer will provide a design, build, and finance of the new facility. Chief, over to you.
Mayor Jones, council members, welcome home to those of you who have traveled. It is my honor and privilege to tell you the remaining part of this presentation. Obviously, all 6 developmental teams presented very strong cases. Thank you, Omar. Presented very strong cases, but it was a difficult decision for our selection committee. But looking at the professionalism and just the great vibe we got from the team here, who's showing a great amount of patience with us tonight. They are here. Edgemoor, Clark, and AC Martin is who we have selected. They were able to provide the best value for the city and definitely understood the city's objective and what we're trying to accomplish here with our timeline and everything that we're looking for in our PD building. The next step is to execute an exclusive negotiating agreement, an ENA, preparing the design drawings, update pricing, developing a framework and structure for the financial package. Those details will have milestones. November of 23 is the presentation of the design concepts. January of 24, presentation of 50% design drawings and initial project pricing. And April of 24, final design pricing and the developmental timeline. It is during this developmental phase where staff will work with selected development team members to evolve the design and operational elements of the project. The process will progress with City Council's input and staff oversight to ensure specifications are met and long-term operational and maintenance savings are considered. The ENA will include a predetermined budget agreed to by both parties. Should the city determine to terminate the ENA, the developer will be owed costs incurring to that point. In this scenario, the city is essentially purchasing the design drawings for the project plus consulting costs. The selected development team was asked to provide a best and final offer for the ENA, and they responded with a figure just slightly under $3 million. It is anticipated that the ENA process will be fully concluded in 6 to 8 months, with City Council receiving regular updates. At the conclusion of the ENA period, City Council will be provided a final decision, cost, and timeline for the construction proposed project. If we select to move forward, the ENA pre-development costs will be included in the project financing. The city has set aside $17.5 million for advancing this project. These funds are paying for the project pre-development work, including PFAL, Michael Baker, CEQA, geotechnical, ALTA, and city staff costs associated with the project. It is the recommendation to City Council to authorize the city manager to negotiate and execute an ENA that includes the major provisions provided in Attachment A with the recommended development team of Edgemoor, Clark, and AC Martin. Initiate the pre-development phase of the Civic Center revitalization project, starting the design development of a new public safety building, a parking structure supporting public safety operations and public parking, re-envision and reconfigure the Civic Center park. Also to authorize appropriation of amount not to exceed $3 million for preparation of materials defined in the ENA, and direct staff to return to City Council within 60 days to provide an update on the designs for the project. Myself or Victoria are open for any questions if you should have any.
Thank you. Colleagues?
I have a question. So pretty aggressive schedule, looks pretty good. So we're anticipating, it's a little back feed there if we're on our screens here. So we're looking at having negotiations for contractors by April of next year and starting construction, is that right?
That's correct, Mayor and council members. So there's some critical milestones that you will be updated. So November of this year, you will be presented 2 design options, which is through this process and through the RFQ queue process, I've been advised this is a very aggressive schedule, so I'm learning. And so you will see 2 alternative designs come November. Then we will be continuing through our ENA process, and in April of 2024, our goal is to bring the final design, the final financing package for council consideration and action and award in April 2024. Those are the 2 critical milestones that you'll see in the future.
Thank you for that. Yeah, it's aggressive, but I think everybody's on point to keep up with the schedule. I think everybody's wants to do it, so thank you.
Comment. I was going to say the exact same thing. I really appreciate the robust timeline. I know how historic this project is and how important it is, and so I trust and appreciate that you've made the best choice to meet the demands of this project and the scope of this project. And this has been a great report, and I'm excited to see this move forward. That's my motion.
Anybody else? All righty, we have a motion and a second. Call the vote.
Motion received, 7 yes votes.
Okay, now the work starts.
Yeah.
There we go. It's a race.
All right, thank you guys. Takes us on to matters. We'll go around the horn. Matters from council members. Mayor
Sure.
Pro Tem.
Got a couple. So my phone is constantly getting blown up on the Lamson project. It was a sewer project, and it's done now. But the rough paving has been done, but the finished paving hasn't been done. And so a lot of people think that the project is done. You know, so I'm getting a lot of complaints. Hey, that's the roughest road. It's like being on a, off-road course or something like that. Yes, we know that. The project is not done. It will, in about 2 weeks, the finished paver's coming in, and he's gonna put the finished paving on, and it'll be nice and smooth and flat, just like you remember it. So please, folks, stop blowing my phone up. The other thing, the air show. So the air show is coming up. It's an annual event. It's kind of cool. The benefit of living in Central or West Garden Grove is that we get to see them practicing over our houses every day, right? So it's kind of cool. But that's coming up this weekend, and it's kind of neat watching the Thunderbirds do their. I was in my backyard this morning watching them do their angles and dangles and whatnot. So anyway, that's coming up this weekend. And that's about all I have.
Thank you. Just a couple items. Remind everybody about this Saturday right here next to the Community Meeting Center is the trash pickup and e-waste. I've kind of been holding a few boxes for shredding, which I was trying to figure out where to take it, but this was perfect timing. And then also tomorrow is in the County of Orange, there's a lot of nonprofits that get together and do their annual fundraising for most of the year tomorrow all at once. So you can go on to different websites and give to certain nonprofits here in the county. One close to my heart is right here in Garden Grove, Gale Night with Hope. If anybody's been down Main Street, right on the corner there, this is one of their biggest fundraisers. Gail started, I believe, in 1996 just because she got word that an 18-year-old mother of 3 was in need, domestic violence, was having trouble making it. Gail personally helped her get on her feet and realize that she had a mission to help single mothers, domestic violence, folks and children, and clothe and feed them. So she's been doing that since 1997 here in Garden Grove with Hope. And so tomorrow's a big fundraiser day. I'm gonna on my social media tomorrow. I'm gonna post a link to donate. If you can give $5, $10, it really helps go a long way. They do so much there, and Gail does so much on her own time. She doesn't like to ask for money. She likes to do things herself, but it takes money to run an organization like that. And lately, since the pandemic, it's mostly been food bank, and she has large donations from the Orange County Mission and also the Costco's and all the food grocery stores in the local area. So she does a lot with a little, and we have a goal of like $20,000 to $40,000. So I'm going to be giving, but if anybody go to the Hope's website, you can just Google Hope Garden Grove. It'll pop up. You can click on her link, and really try to support her. She's done so much in the city. If you can give $5, $10, all the little ones really add up. So that's all I got. Thanks.
Thanks. Cindy.
Yes, sir. So I just came back from the Korean trip, so I would like to share a little, some of the highlight. But before I do that, I just want to do a quick shout out, like what Ruby mentioned earlier about the event that we had with the police chief and all the policemen and the Aiden and Aiden group. The great thing is that many policemen was there, and they all were so friendly, and they were showing the kid how to do certain things, how to cross the street, etc. And it was just making them to feel comfortable, around with the police. And that's was not the feeling that I had when I was younger. When I see the police, I get scared. So I was just impressed with the way how they treat everyone, not just the kid, but also the adult. The parent came, and they also give lesson to the parent too, what to do when your kid missing and things like that. So that was just a shout out to them for a great, well done job. The second thing, I know that the meeting was already long, so I'm just gonna do a quick highlight of the thing that I want to share with our residents. First, I want to say thanks to our staff for amazing preparation. I didn't know where to go or anything, but they were able to prepare our documentation about agenda, what to do, what to wear, where, how to do certain things. So that was amazing job from our staff. Second, I want to say thanks to our mayor, the council member that came with us, Stephanie, Joe. They were so, the whole time I felt so great just to be among them. And so for the other council that you were home, but every time we have the opportunity to say, we always brought your name up. Joe did that, our mayor did that, and so I also, say that to other people too. And I believe our city manager also want to bring something back for you guys too. And I have little thing for everybody here too. So just a quick highlight. You already, as some of you already know, I'm a principal for Our Lady of Life Church, and last Saturday or the previous Saturday was the first day of the school, and the trip was more than a week, and I didn't want to miss the first day of school and the second day of school. So the staff went ahead, and on Friday, so I came 2 days later. So when I got there, that was already Monday night. I just got to attend, very quick business network on Monday night. On Tuesday morning, we had the meeting with the influencer. Just so you know, for this trip, we have to go first. We'll promote the hotel or the tourism in our city, which brought in 28 mil or what in hotel tax, and the other thing was visiting our sister city Anyang. So on Tuesday, we got to meet many of influencers. A lot of them are young, right? But each one of them have more than 100,000 of followers. So when they talk to us, and thanks to our city manager to bring a lot of strawberry prop. So every time we have picture with them, of course we have our something that to highlight Garden Go. And so that was one way that to promote our Garden Go city too. In the afternoon, we got to meet the founder of Kai Yong Bok Gong restaurant, visit the founder. And so they actually have a restaurant here in Bonaparte. So it's just something that just highlight and let it know, the business network and the business development. On Wednesday morning, we got to meet with the Crown Goose group, right? And so this one, they highlight the tour product in hotel. So we got to see kind of luxury hotel product, the blankets, the pillow and things like that. And it was so nice. Like some of their product, it was like 30,000. But the highlight is that we get to see some other thing that advance and make us feel like this is something that we can do better, and we could, see how they do that. And that one will highlight the art integration in marketing, production, and manufacturing. And then in the afternoon, we got to go to the An Giang to meet the mayor, Mayor Joyce. The whole time, you could see the respect that they have for our city staff. And I think, I'm not sure if our mayor will say the story later or not, but somehow that they recognize him as Chef Gordon Ramsay. So I will leave that for our mayor. And then at the end of the night, we got to tour the An Giang Council Chamber. They have 7 council members too, but the way that they have set up a little bit different than us. Each one of them actually in charge of a department. So they lead that department. On Thursday morning, we got to visit the Levi AR. So the one thing I want to highlight is that this is the high-tech company that they create the glass that have kind of combine the PC, the glass, and the virtual, reality in there. So you would be able to look at using the glass and be able to control and look at, doing work. I was able to put my hand out, the butterfly will land in my hand and, do something with it because it have all the sensor. So for me, I talked to them and I said, okay, do you have any company headquarters in America yet? And they said, not yet. I said, come to our Garden Grove City and hopefully, they will bring some of that knowledge and maybe encourage our, school student, high school or college to go in that area and try to do innovation project and make our life better. In the afternoon, we got to see the symposium. And this one, we have to give a big thanks to our staff, our city manager, Lisa, and our Channel 3. So Lisa was able to highlight all the great things about our city, but also the movie that our staff did. It was amazing. I was just so pumped up after hearing Lisa and watching the movie. And and everybody in the room were focusing on, because other people they presented what good about the city, but our movie was amazing. So thank you to the team for doing that. One thing that I want to share is that another city, which is Hampton, right? Hampton. And so what they do is that for students in junior high, they would let the student pick a career they would be interested in. And then when they go in high school, they would be able to learn about that career. And before they finish high school, they already get the certificate for that career. And they would be able to go to work and make money even before they finish high school. So I asked them, okay, how do you, yeah, exactly, right? So I was so interested about it. I talked to them and they said that they actually help some other city to do the similar thing. I know that I talked to a couple of the people from our team and heard our Garden Grove High School have something similar, not exactly like that, but I think it would be nice because sometimes people go, finish high school and they don't have the support or the finance to go up in their, education, and this is a way for them to make money right after high school. And then after that was the opening ceremony for An Giang 50 year. I mean I could say a lot more, but I'm gonna leave that for the rest of the council to share. This is some of the things that I saw. And then on Friday, they said with the smart city integration, this one just make you feel like I cannot wait to share with you guys because the advance that they have to integrate the whole city, they have more than 7,000 cameras everywhere in the city, so there's no place that you could hide. Everything that you do, you make you feel like, wow, what about privacy, right? But I did talk to a couple of the residents. They said that the fact that the safety that it brings, people feel okay with that in the way that anytime if they have a missing kid or an elder, they would be able to backtrack and locate a person within 30 minutes. And then also for the crime, sometimes that you could see, people try to steal a car or something, the police will get there before the guy get in the car, or they get in the car and the police will be flashing light already. So in a way that, so some other thing that we're concerned, what about where the data, and they said that the data that only used for analysis, and for example, like you violate the traffic light and things like that, they don't use that to give you a ticket, no, but they use that for learning, like, okay, what, people always make the problem, the mistake, or how to fix the problem, the street or the sign, thing like that. So that's the first. And then the second thing is relate to like the safety, right? It just make you feel safe. And so around the city, because you know that you're on camera, so you always behave your best. So everyone always nice, and the street is clean and all that. And the kid is just playing on the street. You just make you feel so happy, so like in like a very harmony play. So that was it for me. I know that I talk a lot, but there's a lot more from our council member to say, because not all of us at the same time, the same place. So that's it for me, sir.
Kim. Joe.
Thank you. Yes, of course, we have to report to our citizens who supported us on our trip to Anyang, our sister city, and I have the unique privilege of been there 10 years ago as spouse to then Councilwoman Dee Nung Nguyen. This time she was the spouse and I was the council member, and that's a distinction that I will cherish. It's my claim to claim to fame, if anything else. So we had a very good trip, and we had a lot of things on our agenda. We went with people from Anaheim and other business representatives, and we were there not just representing Garden Grove, but Orange County also, in terms of being ambassadors of goodwill, and thanking our colleagues and the people in Seoul and Anyang who, as Koreans, have come back to our area of Orange County and Garden Grove in big numbers after the pandemic. So we thank them for that trust, that love, that friendliness that they have for our city and our county. So that I want to thank the Korean people who have come back to this part of California and Orange County, and that is through the hard work of a lot of our tourist business here, but it's also because we have very deep roots in terms of families with Korean Americans and Koreans, as well as other communities. And I mentioned that our mayor not only represent Koreatown in Garden Grove, but also Little Saigon. And we have the first Korean Vietnamese festival right here. We voted on this dais to have it in this October, and we thank you for the organizers to do that. And we also have the World Korean Business Convention coming up in Anaheim Convention Center, October 11 to the 14th. So I would invite everybody in our area to participate as much as they can, and I look forward to meeting some of the same people that we met in South Korea that will come and be a part of the business convention right here, that's upcoming in a couple of weeks. So we have a lot of good things to look forward to. What stands out in my mind about this trip is not so much the technology, which as I was very impressed with, the smart city concept, and the rest of the council, mayor also toured their facilities, and Cindy has already spoken to that. But what I was impressed with was the people, the friendliness, the love and respect that they showed us. And we had a lot of volunteers that helped our delegation with translation, with facilitating our visit, and they didn't get paid. They were unpaid volunteers, most of them. Only a few people were actually working for the city. That spirit of volunteerism, that affinity for us as Americans, and we also happened to be there for the 70th anniversary of the U.S. Republic of Korea alliance. So that was a very unique opportunity for us to be ambassadors, to represent not just our city and our county, but America and its relations with the Republic of Korea, which is I think is a relationship that every one of us can can contribute to. And it can only grow and prosper. and we are part of that, and I'm very proud to be a part of that. And lastly, I want to thank Jenny, because Jenny was the only one from the 10-year ago delegation I was there and helped us. And she really gave us the royal treatment because she is royalty. She's Korean royalty. It's one of the things that I learned on this trip, and I so much respect and appreciate that. And Jenny gave us the times of our life, really, in Korea. So I want to thank Jenny personally for all the help, and she was with the delegation 10 years ago, and also was on this time. Last time, Maria Stipe was on the was on the trip, and I just want to mention that we have benefited much from her service to our city, and that's what I'm going to end with. And thank you, everybody.
Stephanie.
Okay, I guess I'll try to see if I can piece a few things together. You guys have talked about a lot. The trip was truly incredible. It was my first time to South Korea, and I was really honored to share the opportunity with my colleagues and obviously the entire delegation. It was a very robust schedule. We started off with doing something that I certainly love, which is touting all things Garden Grove and really being able to showcase our key initiatives and our economic development opportunities in our city, in the county, and so forth. Showcasing Foods of Garden Grove and our diverse foodie scene that we have here in our city. And also that we're a destination hub for multi-night stays here in our county versus staying in Los Angeles and maybe just coming to Disneyland for a day. We really talked about coming into the Garden Grove area and Orange County and making this a destination vacation for people all over the world. When we did travel to Anyang, it was wonderful to meet Mayor Choi and his entire council and just kind of see the day-to-day operations at City Hall. We were able to attend a soccer game at the stadium there in Anyang, which was very special. I know it was for Mayor Jones. And one of the things I really liked the most, it was a bit odd at first, but as we went through the experience, it really got cooler and cooler. It was great to see public art and culture and education and how that all sort of collided in an adaptive reuse, which was just a building that had obviously had a previous purpose. But to see art displayed throughout that building and to really see how they are embracing art and culture in their community was quite special. I really enjoyed that. And we had just so many memorable moments. Obviously, we learned about the technology and AI and how that's being used throughout Anyang. They're just an innovative community, and it's quite interesting to see that play out and unfold. And then just the cultural experiences, the food, being able to go to the palace in Seoul, being able to learn about Korean etiquette and making tea. Right there with all of us together. I could barely get off the ground from sitting crisscross applesauce for so long. But I think it's going to take a while for me to really, I think, process through all that we learned, all that we explored, and just all that time together bonding. It was very special, and I'm very honored to have been on the trip. Thank you.
Thank you very much. First, I'd like to request that the city work with CalOptima and SSA to ensure that we share vital information on our website regarding the Medi-Cal renewal information that they shared, whether that's linked to their stuff or putting their numbers and other information on our website, and if they're having any sort of events with enrollment assistance or whatever else they're doing, if we can partner with their efforts. I think that's really important given the number of folks who are under CalOptima's coverage in Garden Grove, that we make sure that we assist these individuals in processing their renewal. The other item, I had the good fortune of attending Cal Cities all by myself because all of you guys were in Korea having an amazing time in Sacramento last week. So you guys make a note next year, you owe me. One or two of you have to go, and including the city manager, because I was there by myself. And I found Scott. Scott Stiles was there, and I was pretending like he was my city manager because I was left by myself. He sends his hellos to everyone, and he was definitely bummed that he couldn't be here for Maria's retirement. But I know he is probably in his council meeting at this moment in time. I was sworn in for my second year as a state director and OC division board member. I want to thank city staff, specifically Pam, for preparing an application that then got me 3 different awards at 3 levels of the Torch program leadership with the Cal Cities. And so it was really nice and special to have that. The other item I want to bring up is I'm bringing back a throwback item of mine. Lisa, be prepared. given through the census and the updated numbers, we now have 37.3% Latinos in the city of Garden Grove, which is a decent increase from where it was in the past. And I've thought long and hard about a lot of the things that I've gotten to work on and what has come to Garden Grove as a result of some of my crazy ass. One being a tequila bar, two being the Habit on Harbor. Many things to be excited about. But one unlived dream so far has been able to get a sister city with Mexico. I participated in some of the activities in the city of Santa Ana for Fiestas Patrias, where they did have their newly administered sister city of Sahuayo, Mexico there. And it was really enlightening to see their delegation come, and not just so much what they got out of it, but really what the city in Mexico got out of it in learning more about water treatment. They were mentioning some visits that they had in Sacramento to learn and how to implement in their city, and I think that we have a lot to offer, and I would really like for us to venture into that and maybe get it done before November 2024, but if not, at some point in time in the near future. I know that the mayor and I have met with the Mexican consulate, and they have offered their support in efforts to establish a sister city, and I don't think that it needs to be something overwhelming to scare staff that's going to be super elaborate. But so long as we have that partnership and they can come visit and we can visit and really exchange ideas and thoughts, I think that that's sufficient. So I don't think it has to be overburdensome for staff or for us. And over the years, if that grows and more comes out of it, then that's amazing. But I think establishing that as a first step would be really great.
Vote for Cabo.
I want tequila Mexico, George. Join my team. And lastly, as noted by the city clerk, I am now Kimberly Swen Peñalosa. And so I want to give a shout out to my now husband, Councilmember David Peñalosa of Santa Ana. We officially tied the knot on September 15th, and I'm just very blessed and honored to have married the love of my life. That's it.
Wonderful. I'll share a couple quick notes about Anyang and our trip to Korea. Most of it has already been covered, so I won't be redundant as much as possible, but just for context, Garden Grove has enjoyed a sister city relationship with Anyang for 34 years, and they invited us over to help them celebrate their 50-year anniversary as a city, so that was kind of the original invite to go on the trip. We wore a tourism promotion hat. We met with travel agents over there. In fact, hosted a conference with all the travel agents over there and various other things. We brought a delegation of other local entities, including Disneyland, and Visit Anaheim and South Coast Plaza and Nixon Library and our very own Great Wolf Lodge that came with us. So we went over there and we sold some hotel rooms. Stays in Garden Grove. Anyang has sister city relationships with, I think, 5 different cities in Japan, one in China, one in Hampton, Virginia, and others. So it was really interesting. They invited those other sister cities of theirs to join as well. So it wasn't just us. We got to mix and mingle with mayors and council members from other cities around the world, and each city at one point during a symposium, gave kind of an overview of what their city's all about and the highlights. And so it's really cool just getting to know other folks from other cities, not just Anyang, and having a whole week to just kind of compare and contrast and learn from one another and what issues they're experiencing and how they deal with them. I was profoundly impressed by all the innovations that we got to see in Korea, and particularly with Anyang smart city technologies. They're far advanced, ahead of all of us over here in terms of the way they embrace technology and AI and different things. They've got driverless buses coming soon. Starting in November, we got to see one and stand inside of it and check it all out. So it was a great trip, and just kudos to Mayor Choi. The guy is legendary. He's got just a huge amount of natural charisma. He's a lot of fun. And one of the very first things he said when he greeted us was, I hope you get out around the city and meet people within the community and ask them if they're happy, because that's my number one goal, is I want our community to be happy, right? And I just thought that was sounds so simple, but it was deeply profound in his approach. So we appreciate their hospitality, and it was an amazing trip. General Counsel, any need for a closed session or anything to report?
Nope, we don't have a need for closed session, nothing to report, but I do think that the description of the smart city makes me think that George Orwell's 1984 should have been titled 2024, and I'm scared for 2034.
Yeah. It's funny, we chatted about that, just that, the way, Asian countries, Korea is embracing technology. It's amazing what they can do with it in a context of where there's trust for government having all that data, right? The dynamic is different here. So who knows? It'll be interesting to see how the world progresses in the future with other countries versus us not embracing those kind of technologies. It'll be interesting. Lisa.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. A couple remarks following all the recap of our Korea trip. First, I wanted to thank the council for 8 days of jam-packed programming. You went with the flow. We've guided you through 3 or 4 events, on some days 6 events a day, and you continue to, just celebrate Garden Grove and highlight the best of our city. So thank you for your patience going through that. My favorite part of the trip was our first Sunday. The weather was just under 90 degrees, about 70 or 80% humidity, and we had the luxury of wearing their traditional hanbok with our delegation, and it was one of the most fun photographic moments that I will cherish, so thank you for that. And lastly, thank you to Janie, to Maria, Greg, GGTV for really helping to prep for our trip. All their hard work and planning has paid off, and tourism is certainly will grow in our community, so thank you.
All righty, thank you. And with that, we will adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear.